And we are live for week 17. The fantasy football finals is here in the vast majority of leagues. I hope the first two games of the week have gone well for you. We've seen some huge fantasy performances in these first couple of games, CeeDee Lamb being the main one last night. Shout out to everybody who has CeeDee Lamb in their fantasy football finals. Good morning, guys. We are just getting started. We are going to talk about every single player, about every single game. We're going to get to thousands of start sits like we have for 17 straight Sundays. Good morning, guys. Shout out to everyone who's in here early as usual. Alan, man, thanks for the support this year, for the last couple of years. Love to hear you got Lamb and CMC in the finals. That is absolute money. All right. We got some defensive decisions today. I'm expecting more defense questions than usual. Every single small decision matters in the fantasy football finals. I really don't think you can get better than the Raiders defense. I think that the 49ers defense is an elite option. They're probably bigger favorites, though, so I probably would actually go 49ers defense over the Raiders defense. But the Raiders defense, guys, leads all defenses in fantasy points per game over the last 2 months. Since their new head coach took over, they are number one in fantasy points per game, the Raiders defense. 49ers get the Commanders today, though. They're 14-point favorites. The Raiders are 4-point underdogs against the Colts. So, yeah, I think I would probably go the 49ers. I do like just looking at the spreads to make defensive decisions. Like the Bills, the 49ers, the Eagles today, all favored over by 12 points. All three of those defenses should be pretty good for fantasy. Zamir or Achane? Yeah, so we got the Achane news, late last night? I saw it early this morning with Mostert's out. Raheem Mostert is out. Let me pull up the running back tiers here for everybody on the TikTok live. Let me pull up the running back rankings for everybody on the YouTube live. Shout out to everybody with me this early in the morning. By the way, we are literally just getting started. Hit the like button if you're watching live on YouTube. I'm telling you, it takes 2 seconds. Helps me out so much. On TikTok live, smash the like button. That helps me out a lot as well. Just tap the screen. You can like as many times as you want on TikTok. I do appreciate it. All right. Devon Achane. He's a tier 2 running back this week. An elite tier 2 option. The only running backs I'm definitely starting over Achane today are Christian McCaffrey, Corinne Williams, Travis Etienne, Rashad White, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. End of list. End of list. I don't know how you put Devon Achane on our bench with Raheem Mostert out. It's not really a great matchup here for Achane, but it is a good situation with Raheem Mostert out. Man, the range of outcomes all season for Achane has been huge. Achane's burned us a couple games in a row in the fantasy football playoffs, but we've seen the upside. He still has over 25 points in almost half of his games, half of his healthy games. We haven't seen Achane get over 10 carries since week 13. Every single game that Achane has at least 10 carries, he has gone over 25 fantasy points. Every single one. He's 4 for 4. 3 for 3, excuse me. He only has 3 games over 10 carries. We could see a bigger receiving role for him today, too. I would temper expectations like a little bit. I don't think we're going to see Achane get a 75% snap share and 75% usage rate or anything crazy, but he probably will get past 10 carries in this game, and he will be the second best player that the Dolphins have on offense. There's no Raheem Mostert today. There's also no Jalen Waddle today. I mean, wheels up, guys, for Tyreek Hill. He is going to win fantasy football finals today. If you have Tyreek Hill, I'd be feeling pretty good on this great New Year's Eve, Sunday morning. I got to say, I like Thanksgiving in football. I liked Christmas in football. I don't know how much I like New Year's Eve in football because, I'm going to watch football all day. I'm going to grind all morning on this live stream. I don't know if I'm going to make it for the ball drop tonight. I mean, it's just a long day, man. You're asking a lot, I think, on New Year's, the holiday that happens at midnight. All right, happy championship weekend to you as well. 2 championship matchups this week with all your advice. Thank you, man. I appreciate these types of comments in week 17. It's been a long season. I'm having a blast on these Sunday morning lives. I miss these so much in the off season. This might be the last one. We'll see if I got the energy for a week 18 Sunday morning live. I probably will to some extent, but this is the true last live of the fantasy season. So shout out to everybody here. All right, let's go to the pick of the day. And I do have a pick of the day for us. Of course, we just missed the Cream Hunt under, by the way, on the last drive on Thursday night, which brings us to 26-12 on the free player props this season. I really like this one today. I actually think this line has moved a lot. It might actually be at 36 or 35.5 now. I got it actually at 30 when it first came out, but the Rashid Shaheed prop lines are set simply too low today. That's the free player prop of the day. It's Rashid Shaheed over yards. I like his receptions line too. My official play, though, is going to be the yards line. Rashid Shaheed ran a season-high 98%. He had a season-high 98% route percentage last week. That's Rashid Shaheed, 41 routes, the third most of his season, but the percentage-wise, he had 9 targets most of the season, tied most of the season. They're setting his line. He had 9 targets. He gets a Buccaneers secondary that's bottom 3 in the NFL. He had 9 targets last week. They're setting his line at 34.5. They're setting his reception line at 2.5. He could easily get another 9 targets this week. It's him. It's Olave. Kamara's questionable. He's going to play. This is a big divisional game here, too, for the Saints, and the Bucs have a lot to play for. Most teams have a lot to play for, by the way, which I got to say has not been the case at this week in past seasons. There's been a lot more teams with nothing to play for, it feels like. Ridley or Diggs. Yes, let me go to the wide receiver tiers here again. I'll go to the wide receiver rankings as well on the YouTube Live. I think there's some tough wide receiver decisions today, and I think one of them is Stephon Diggs for sure. I got Steph Diggs in the bottom of tier 3. I do have him ahead of Calvin Ridley. But Diggs is a little tough to trust. I mean, I'm impressed if you made it to the finals and you had Steph Diggs, because he has been really disappointing over the last month and a half. He has been under 10 fantasy points for 3 straight games. He played the Chargers last week, still only 7.9 points on 8 targets. The target share has been there too, which is part of the confusing part here with the Steph Diggs stuff. Let me pull down this so you can see on the YouTube Live. Steph Diggs has, these peripheral numbers. If you told me Steph Diggs was going to have 3 straight games over 30% target share, I would have been starting him with a ton of confidence all of those weeks, which I did start him with confidence in these weeks. He produces nothing with these targets, though. Snap percentage has been down. It's a bit strange. Pats have been good against number 1 receivers, too. So, yeah, I got Steph Diggs ranked as low as I've had him ranked all season. Still a good start in a lot of spots. I'm really high on Zay Flowers, Jaden Reed today, though. I think I would play both those guys over Steph Diggs. I know that's not going to be easy to do, just like mentally, but I do think both those guys are really good options. Let's pull up this Jaden Reed, Zay Flowers. We just saw CeeDee Lamb destroy Dolphins. Obviously, Zay Flowers is not CeeDee Lamb, and then we'll compare these guys against Steph Diggs. Jaden Reed I like a lot today too versus the Vikings. The Pats haven't been anything super scary defensively, but they have been good against top options. Matchup against the Dolphins, the Vikings here for Flowers and Reed. I do like those spots for them. All these guys are projected really close. Of course, Flowers is coming off one of his best games of the season, his second best fantasy game of the season. He's out there every single passing play for the Ravens. It's pretty clear he's their best receiver. Show running back tiers. I got you. Zamir or Javonte. Yeah, I think you got to go Zamir over Javonte. I know we're going to get a lot of Zamir questions. We're going to get to all the start sit questions, by the way, guys. It's championship day. This is it. We have grinded all season for today. You got to make the best decisions possible. And then you got to win. You got to win. This is it. This is it, guys. We need to make the best possible decisions. All right. Let me get to some of these start sit comments. Is DK playing? I do think DK Metcalf is playing. Yes. Ty Chandler over Zamir White. Yeah, that's definitely a close one. I got a Ty Chandler Zamir White here too in the YouTube Live. He's also wondering about Zeke and Achane, though, which I think makes it a little bit tougher. Let's see here. Between Ty Chandler and Zamir White, I think I would lean personally Zamir White, just because there's a more clear role for Zamir than Chandler. Madison's playing. Madison is active. Josh Jacobs is inactive. Like, he's not playing. Amir Abdullah is not anything to worry about. Ty Chandler projects a little bit better. He has played a bit better. I would play Zeke and Achane over Zamir and Chandler, though. I'm definitely playing Zeke and Achane here over Zamir White and Ty Chandler, especially with Raheem Mostert out. I think Zeke is one of the highest floor options in all of fantasy football. I've been drafting him really aggressively in the daily drafts I do over on Sleeper. Best DFS game in the world, by the way. Sleeper daily drafts. Use code Walter if you have never deposited on Sleeper. Zeke's out there almost every single snap. He's seeing elite target share numbers. We were talking about this on Thursday night, and hopefully you started Breece. Hopefully I convinced enough of you to start Breece Hall on Thursday night. There is such a small list of running backs that can hit a 30% target share in the NFL. We counted them on one hand on Thursday night. That is how few running backs could hit a 30% target share, because that's an elite wide receiver type number. Like, most receivers don't hit a 30% target share. Zeke has done it twice in his last 3 games. Like, his floor is extremely high in PPR leagues with that receiving role. I mean, look at all these catches. He's got 21 catches in his last 3 games. Got to be top 3 among running backs in that span. And they're huge underdogs against the Bills. There's no Ramondre Stevenson for the rest of the season. You got to go Zeke and HN here. But yeah, I think I probably would go. Good math, Sam. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, on the fly here. Gotta live up, to the hat if I'm going to rock this every Sunday. Good morning to you, Sean. Appreciate you tuning in, man, all season. Hey, Sam. Happy Championship Sunday. Chase or Diggs? Oh, gosh, it's got to be Chase, I think, over Diggs. Chase is going to play. He's technically a game time decision, but it does sound like Jamar Chase is going to play. He's going to rank below Diggs here for me. Oh, gosh. This is a really tough choice. And the Pats on paper are a better matchup. But again, the Pats are really good at stopping number 1 options. Let me go to the wide receiver tiers here. Where's Kamara? Did I leave Kamara out? I might have. I would definitely put Kamara in tier 2 if I left him out here, which it looks like I did. The wide receiver tiers. All right, Steph Diggs versus Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has been... I think I would go Chase. Honestly, I think I would go Chase over Diggs. I think that the Chiefs' offense is going to put up significant points. Today, they were really disappointing last week on national TV. Really good bounce back spot here against the Bengals. The Bengals defense, guys, has been bad, really bad, especially of late, which means the Bengals are going to be playing from behind. I'm going to move some of this around here. I think I would also play Olave and DJ Moore ahead of Steph Diggs. All right, we just updated the wide receiver rankings on the YouTube Live. Start Higgins or Ridley? I'm going Ridley. Especially with Chase back, I feel like Higgins has a really low floor. With Mostert hurt, Wilson or Elliott? Definitely Zeke. Defense tiers. Don't have defense tiers for you. Bijan or Achane or Zamir? Pick one. It's Achane. I think it's Achane over Bijan and Zamir. I'm definitely playing Bijan over Zamir also. Chase or Diggs? Yeah, it's Chase. Need a flex running back and wide receiver. Need some upside. DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, Zamir White, Bijan, and Douglas. Flex running back and wide receiver. So you got to go DJ Moore. If you're going for the upside, there's no Darnell Mooney. Cole Kmet is now a game time decision. The Bears are, I believe, underdogs in this one. They're 3-point favorites at home against the Falcons. Falcons secondary hasn't been bad this season. They've actually been pretty good. But yeah, DJ Moore has given you the upside. I mean, there's not many guys with the upside DJ Moore has. So I would go with him first. And then you need a running back as well. Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, Zamir White, Bijan, Douglas. Let me pull the running back ranks here again. I feel like Ty Chandler is probably the answer. So going back to the Ty Chandler, Zamir White discussion, let's do that comparison again because it's extremely close in my mind. Walter has Ty Chandler projected much better. Both have really good matchups here. Both are, backup running backs thrusted into starting roles. Ty Chandler, 66% snap percentage last week. No targets for Ty Chandler. Barely ran any routes. Zamir White, on the other hand, 76% snap percentage. He ran at least a few routes. He gets the Colts. 22 carries for him. I really feel like Zamir White, he's got the better matchup. The offensive line is so bad for the Raiders. Let's look at the spreads here too. The Vikings are 1-point favorites, and the Raiders have to be pretty big underdogs. They're 4-point underdogs. I'm leaning Zamir White. I'm leaning Zamir White over Ty Chandler. I think we've seen the bigger game in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, we saw Ty Chandler have a 25-point game. Only 7 points last week. I'm going Zamir White. I'm going to update the rankings for this as well. Going to knock Ty Chandler down here a bit. Going to move Ty Chandler to 20 or 19th. All right, we're about to get to a bunch of the start sits. We're going to talk to every single player, every single game, like we do every single Sunday morning. We're 17 Sundays in. I can't believe it. Coinciding with the new year too, I always get reflective around the new year. I can't be alone in that, but man, the season always goes by so fast, guys. I appreciate you so much. All right, Zamir or Hubbard? It's Zamir. It's got to be Zamir over Chuba Hubbard. Where's Adams? Devontae Adams is on here, I believe. I got him ranked on the YouTube live at number 19. I got Devontae Adams right between DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf. Not seeing either of them on the TikTok live either. I might have missed more players than I realized this morning. Zamir White or Joe Mixon? It's Zamir. Yeah, I'd go Zamir over Joe. Let me go to the QB tiers. Let's talk through the QBs today. I haven't seen many QB questions. I think it's a relatively straightforward QB week, but we haven't talked about the QBs at all. So Jalen Hurts, just an absolute cheat code. Obviously, he's getting started everywhere. Lamar Jackson could absolutely win leagues today. Justin Fields, too. Both these guys are rushing just an insane amount. Fields had almost 100 rushing yards last week. A bunch of receivers out, too, for Fields. It maybe means more rushing. We're also there. Weatherman Sam does have a report for us today. Nothing too alarming, but it does have to do with Justin Fields' game to some extent. Let's look at. I want to compare these rushing stats, man. Both these guys averaging 9.5 carries per game. A little bit more efficient from Fields, but wow, this is almost identical rushing stats here. We got the number 1 and number 2 rushing quarterbacks, yards per game, up on the YouTube live right now. If you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. It's a better viewing experience. I'm telling you, it's a better viewing experience. It's just as free. It's right in the TikTok bio. We're looking at Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson rushing stats compared against each other, and I'm picturing that Spider-Man meme right now. These are basically identical QBs. I wonder who's number 1 here. Might even be Anthony Richardson potentially. I don't think so. But yeah, this is elite floor and ceiling for Lamar and Fields. Stroud, if you have Stroud, you probably should be starting CJ Stroud. I think Stroud's right up there in that top tier. We've seen some massive games from CJ Stroud. He's coming back off the concussion. You can wipe out this game. He didn't play the whole game here against the Jets. The Jets secondary has been good. We saw a 31-point game against the Jags. We saw a 42-point game against the Bucs. He gets the Titans today. They've been below average in the secondary. They're definitely better against the run than they are the pass. CJ Stroud's got an elite ceiling today. Nico Collins, too. I would play Fields over Stroud. I would play Lamar over Stroud. I would play Hurts over Stroud. I think you can make a good argument for Josh Allen over Stroud, but I'd personally play Stroud over Josh Allen against the Pats. I'm playing Josh Allen over Purdy and Mahomes, though. I do like Purdy and Mahomes a lot today. Brock Purdy, one of my teams that went down last week, needed just a few more points, a few more Brock Purdy points. A really, really bad game. By far his worst game of the season here for Brock Purdy last week against an elite Ravens defense, to be fair. Part of the reason I'm very nervous to start Tua this week is he gets the Ravens this week. That should be a really fun matchup, by the way, coming up in just a few hours here on our TV screens. But yeah, we got Brock Purdy now in probably the most ideal bounce back spot possible. I don't think there's a better bounce back spot for the entire 49ers offense, the whole 49ers team, the entire organization. Brock Purdy, the most, though. He could easily go for 30-plus points this week. This could be the first 30-point week we see from Brock Purdy this season, and he could win fantasy football championships today. He gets the Commanders, guys. This defense is a complete joke. I mean, they have no chance to stop the 49ers offense. Today, they were torn up by Trevor Siemian, over 200 yards. Last week, Matt Stafford had a day against the Commanders, 258, 2 touchdowns. Tua had a 20-point game. Dak went for over 30 points. I mean, they're allowing over 20 points almost every single week. Tommy DeVito went over 20. Geno Smith went over 20. Mac Jones had one of his better games against the Commanders. I mean, Brock Purdy could easily throw 4 touchdowns and 300 yards in this game. I think more likely is Christian McCaffrey goes for a huge game and they keep it a little bit more on the ground because the game's not going to be close. But yeah, Brock Purdy definitely can be started and trusted this week. I think Purdy and Mahomes, Josh Allen, Stroud, Fields, Lamar, Hurts. I hope you have one of those guys in your fantasy football championship. If you don't, I do like Jordan Love. Kyler Murray, I think, is a pretty good sleeper this week. He's been running enough that Kyler Murray is the top 12 fantasy football QB. I think I'm going to have a lot of Kyler Murray in fantasy next year if the public sentiment stays sour on him. Hope your morning's going well as well, Luke. We're going to the start sits now. All right, we're going to get to the start sits. I'm going to answer hundreds of start sits in the next 30 minutes to 60 minutes. All right, should I start Javonte, Zamir, or Goddard? My flex, I have likely full PPR. Yes, so you got to go Zamir here. Go Zamir over Javonte. I think I probably would go I think I probably would go Ty Chandler over T. Higgins. It's a close call. It doesn't feel great to me, but I think it's the right call. I think Ty Chandler has a much safer floor than T. Higgins. The ceiling is really high for T. Higgins. We've seen it, but with Jamar Chase playing, I think Ty Chandler against the Packers is a good option. Chuba Hubbard or Aaron Jones in full PPR. Let me go with the running back tiers here too. I think it's close between. Yeah, I got Chuba Hubbard ahead of Aaron Jones. AJ Dillon's playing. Aaron Jones looked good last week, but that was against the Panthers. He had 14.5 against the Panthers, 21 carries, 55% snap percentage. The Vikings, though, have been good against running backs. So the fourth fewest points per game to running backs this season is the Minnesota Vikings. Definitely, this is a game for the Packers passing attack more than the rushing attack. Joe Mixon or Zay Flowers, non-PPR. Non-PPR almost always go with the running back. Zeke or Achane? Yeah, so I know you said Chance here. I assume you mean H-A. Yeah, we got it up here, Kevin. Spelled correctly. This is like a quintessential, I feel like, question of just like what are you going for? Like, what is your mentality in the start-sit decision? If your mentality between Zeke and Achane is I want the highest upside player, it's a pretty straightforward decision. But if it's a decision about I want the safest player, it's also, I think, a pretty straightforward decision. These are two very different graphs here. Zeke has only a 14% chance to go under 10 points. Achane has a 30% chance to go under 10 points. So the floor is twice as good for Zeke as it is for Achane, but Achane's ceiling is not comparable to Zeke. Achane has a 25%. He's almost as good of a chance, Achane, of going under 10 as he does going over 25. I mean, a super wide range of outcomes. But the tail end of the ceiling for Achane is over 40 points. Like, the ceiling is extremely high. Zeke is not going to hit 40 points in a game because the Pats cannot score enough points for him to hit 40 points. The Dolphins can. Zeke only has a 6% chance to go over 25. So do you want the ceiling or do you want the floor? That's really all this question comes down to. We got Achane projected ahead of Zeke. My mentality is almost always, go for the guy that can score over 40 points. Achane can win you this week. He can win you the week. Zeke is probably not going to win you the week, but he probably will help you not lose the week, if that makes sense. Achane could also lose you the week. He could go under 10 points. I'm going Achane, though, man. You're in the finals. Go win the finals. Go play the guy that can just straight up win you the game. Unless you're up by a lot. Unless you had CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and some of these other big players, Breece Hall, to start the week, then maybe you go Zeke and lock in at least 10 points because he's going over 10 points, guys. Zeke with this receiving role. Over a 30% target share, back-to-back games for Zeke. Unreal stuff. T. Higgins or Thielen? Yeah, I go T. Higgins over Thielen. I want nothing to do with Thielen right now. Gus Edwards in tier 6 is effing wild. Yeah, I've been totally wrong about Gus Edwards all season. I'm not changing now, though. I really think the rationale behind benching Gus Edwards almost every single week has made sense. It has not played out well for me, benching Gus Edwards every single week. I mean, he's been over 12.5 fantasy points almost every single week since week 7. He's near the top of the league in touchdowns. He's right up there with Raheem Mostert, David Montgomery in the touchdown column. There's no Keaton Mitchell. But he gets the Dolphins today. They rank 12th best against running backs this season. I continue to feel like Gus Edwards is not startable in PPR leagues because he has absolutely no receiving role. He has not a single game over 2 catches this season. He's probably going to get 0 catches today. Lamar is also a threat in the red zone. So if Gus Edwards does not score, he is almost definitely going under 10 points. He's a touchdown dependent, no receiving role running back. And that's just not the type of running backs I would start in fantasy. So yeah, I would play Romeo Doubs over Gus Edwards pretty easily, especially in a PPR league. I don't think it's that close. I think I'd go Doubs over Singletary also. Alvin Kamara is not on this list. That was a mistake. He should be in tier 2. I think I'm missing accidentally a couple receivers also on the receiver list. But yeah, Kamara's in tier 2. He's right. I put him probably right before Achane. Let me actually pull the running back rankings. If you come to the YouTube live, if you watch live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. I got my full rankings in order, not a single player missing. Yeah, I got Kamara at 8. So I got Kamara right at the end of that tier 2 list, right after Achane, right before Zeke is where I got Kamara ranked. Jeff Wilson or Jaylen Warren? Yeah, I think I'd probably go Jaylen Warren. What's the deal with Jamar? Yes, so Jamar's going to play. He's testing out pregame. He's technically a game time decision. Sounds like he's going to play, though. DK lineup, Nick, we are in week 17. And if you're like me and you got absolutely, brutally beat in week 16. I mean, I had some really bad beats. I got to make a video about it on TikTok last week, but it's on to DraftKings. It's on to the DFS games. I do have a DFS lineup for us today that I do like a lot. I got CJ Stroud at QB1. There's a route to getting Christian McCaffrey and Corinne Williams in the same DraftKings lineup this week while still stacking CJ Stroud. I actually didn't get Nico Collins in this one. I don't think I was able to get him in. Maybe a good approach here to take Karen out, get Nico Collins in, or some other way to pay down to get Nico Collins in here. But yeah, McCaffrey and Corinne Williams in the same lineup feels like cheating. Demario Douglas, Greg Dortch, Curtis Samuel. I think there's a reasonable. Demario Douglas, the clear top receiver for the Pats. Juju's out. Again, they're huge underdogs. He's going to go over 50 yards, has a chance to score. Greg Dortch, there's no Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's playing the worst secondary in the league against the Philadelphia Eagles, or at least a bottom 5 secondary. Definitely one of the most pass funnel defenses in the league. We got Curtis Samuel in a huge underdog spot too. He's seen over a 20% target share in 2 of his last 3 games. Isaiah Likely's filling the Mark Andrews role in what could be a pretty high scoring game. I like him a lot. Corinne Williams and McCaffrey, though, like these guys are in a tier of their own. These are the tier 1 running backs. It's not really close. The drop off from CMC to Corinne Williams to everybody else, like these guys are playing a different sport. They're playing a completely different role than some of these other running backs. CMC is averaging 25.2 points per game, and Corinne's at 20.4. Those are the top 2 running backs in points per game. These are the top 2 running backs in yards per game. They're both in the top 3 in touchdowns per game. They're the number 1 in snap percentage. Like these guys are just not coming off the field. They're seeing elite usage, and they're both in smash spots today. McCaffrey could score 4 touchdowns against the Commanders, and nobody would blink an eye. Similar thing for Corinne against the Giants. I mean, these guys are going to win leagues. Tua or Kyler Murray. That's my play today on DraftKings. There's a lot of good quarterback spots this week, so I would try to stack with quarterbacks if you're going to play in tournaments. All right, let me pull this off here, and we'll get back to some of the comments. Zeke or White, you got to go Rashad White. There's no benching Rashad White. I got you, Xavier, Devontae Smith or T. Higgins. Chase will get the Snead treatment. Yeah, I don't really fear the Snead treatment. I'm not gonna over calculate for that, especially with a guy like Jamar Chase. I pulled Pollard for Zamir. That's a genius move. Let's get the ship. Thanks for a great year, Sam. Thank you, Xavier, for tuning in to these live. Shout out to everybody in this live stream right now. Shout out to everybody in the fantasy football finals. Take a second and appreciate today, because this is not an easy game to get to. I'm telling you, I've been playing fantasy football since I was in the 4th grade. Making the finals, especially in truly competitive leagues, is not easy. It can take years, decades even, in some leagues. So you got to appreciate getting there, man. All right. Devontae Smith versus T. Higgins. I really think T. Higgins has a low floor today against the Chiefs. We know the ceiling is high. I think you can probably say something similar for Devontae Smith, though. He gets the Cardinals. Devontae Smith has surprisingly stayed consistent despite the return of Dallas Goedert, but we have seen the target shares dip here a bit for Devontae Smith. So while he's stayed consistent, he did score last week. He caught all 5 of his targets the week before, but he's gone down. Like Devontae Smith is not the same Devontae Smith we were getting when Dallas Goedert was out. When Dallas Goedert was out, he didn't have a game under 8 targets. Now that Devontae Smith is Dallas Goedert's back, he's had 5 targets in back-to-back games. He has not hit 20% target share back-to-back games. Now this game 2 against the Cardinals, like it could be over in the first half. So I think I maybe would go T. Higgins here for the ceiling. Let's see too, the ceiling. Yeah, the ceiling is higher for T. Higgins. So yeah, I'd say Devontae Smith probably is a bit safer. I think the floor for T. Higgins is really low. Over a 50% chance for T. Higgins to go under 10 points is what we're saying in the Walter Picks app. So yeah, I'd probably lean T. Higgins for the ceiling if you need it. But if you don't, it's probably Devontae Smith. And yeah, definitely good call going Zamir over Pollard. Wide receivers, please. Yeah, I got you. The wide receiver tiers, Nico, in the TikTok live. It's week 17. It's the fantasy football finals. This is it, guys. This is it. We got 2.5 hours ahead of us, and we got to make the most of them. All right, full PPR. I got the free player prop for us next, Zane. I got you in the YouTube live. Pick a running back, receiver, and a flex. DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, James Cook. Yeah, so you're playing DJ Moore, you're playing James Cook, you're playing Achane. DJ Moore, James Cook, Achane, in that order. Do not start James Conner. Do not start Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is a big risk this week. He didn't practice all week. They're saying he's dealing with like a re-aggravated or new shoulder thing. He's going to play, but he could be limited. He definitely could be limited, and we could see more of Charbonnet than usual. Prop of the day, yeah, Zane. We just missed the Kareem Hunt under on Thursday, but we got a good over today. Rashid Shaheed over 34.5 receiving yards is the free player prop of the day. They're setting the Rashid Shaheed lines way too low. The reception line is at 2.5. The yards line is at 34.5 or 35.5. He had 9 targets last week, tied a season high 9 targets. He ran the most. He had the highest route percentage of the season. He ran a route in basically every single passing play for the Saints. Now he gets the Bucs, a bottom 3 secondary. Michael Thomas still out. He's the clear number 2 or number 3 receiving option. I think Shaheed has a chance to go over 100 yards today, and they're setting the line at 30. So yeah, I like the Shaheed props a lot. Barkley or Taylor? Oh, gosh, I'm not benching JT, and I think I've been sleeping a tiny bit on Saquon. Just looking at some of the numbers this morning, Saquon's been great, and last week was a good sign, I think, for Saquon. I still think you go Jonathan Taylor, though. Let me pull up the Jonathan Taylor numbers here as well. JT, first game back last week, 60% of the snaps, and I think he'll build on that this week. Don't be shocked if we see an 80% snap share game here from JT. We've seen that this season, and in those games, he had at least 14 points in both those games. We have not seen season, not a game with over 25 points this whole season. Why not here in Week 17 against a Raiders defense that's been good, but bad overall against the run, like good of late, but bad overall against the run this season? I think there's room for a bigger receiving role too for JT. Look at some of these games earlier in the season: 80% snap share, 80% route participation, 65% route participation. Last week, only 35%, only 1 target for JT last week. I like JT a lot. I think Saquon's good too, though. Saquon last week, despite the Giants having absolutely nothing to play for, played 90% of the snaps, 23 carries, and he had 6 targets. He had 26 touches last week, JT, against the Eagles. Sorry, Saquon against the Eagles, one of the better run defenses in the league. So Saquon's definitely a good option too. But yeah, I think I probably would go JT. I think I would play JT over Achane as well. I'd say that one's pretty close. I'll put the running back rankings here again on the YouTube live. Guys, shout out to everybody in this live stream this morning. If you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. Hopkins or Thielen? I'm going Hopkins over Thielen. Achane or Zamir White? Definitely Achane. Need a running back and a flex. Yeah, it's DJ Moore and Achane here. Play DJ Moore and Achane. Play DJ Moore over Mike Evans. God, I have Mike Evans over DJ Moore, actually. Let's pull this up because that's a tough call, Mike Evans versus DJ Moore. Mike Evans gets Marshawn Lattimore here in the fantasy football finals. Not the matchup you want for Mike Evans in the fantasy football finals. For as good as Mike Evans has been, gosh, we got Mike Evans ahead of DJ Moore here. Mike Evans has been better this season. Mike Evans, 17.8 points per game. That's wide receiver 8 on the season in points per game. He's averaging almost a touchdown per game here. He's really only had 2 bad games, Mike Evans, this whole season. One of them came against the Saints, though, who he gets today. This is the toughest matchup he's had in a little bit here. He's been seeing extremely consistent targets. But DJ Moore gets the Falcons. They've been pretty good in the secondary also. Honestly, I think I probably would go DJ Moore over Mike Evans, even though Walter's saying Mike Evans over DJ Moore. I think I'd go DJ Moore over Mike Evans. I'm actually going to move DJ Moore up. And part of the reason I like DJ Moore this week, too, all the receivers are out. Darnell Mooney's out. Cole Kmet is a game-time decision. I think there's a real chance Cole Kmet doesn't play today. That's like 30% of the targets between Kmet and Mooney. They have nothing behind DJ Moore today. Like, he could hit a 40% target share today. He 100% could. He could hit a 50% target share. I just think we've seen games where DJ Moore has seen ridiculous target shares this season. If we pull it over, yeah, he's hit a 40% target share 3 times this season. And in those games, Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet were active. He hasn't been under 20% in over a month, target share-wise. I like DJ Moore a lot. Yes, I'd go DJ Moore and Achane. I do think both those guys are good options. I'm playing Kyler over Tua. I'm pretty nervous for Tua. He gets the Ravens defense that just crushed Brock Purdy last week. I feel like Tua and Brock, honestly, are relatively comparable guys. I mean, they're surrounded by extremely talented weapons. Smash the like for my man Sam. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you, man. All right, Zamir or K9 at flex, full PPR. Have Henry and Zeke at running backs. Please help. It's Zamir. It's Zamir over K9. I definitely think Kenneth Walker is a big risk this week, just given the injury risk. The injury risk. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. He didn't practice all week. I'm being very careful with Kenneth Walker, especially in PPR. I've struggled with Kenneth all season because as efficient as Kenneth is as a runner, he is not the best receiving back on his own team. And at times he has been used as a receiver, but Marshawn Lattimore is not playing. Brian, thank you for the call out here. That does make me feel better about Mike Evans. I'm going Achane over Ty Chandler, by the way. Let me just confirm this. report here. I actually think this is accurate. Yeah. Marshawn Lattimore on IR. Marcus Mays on IR too. A lot of injuries actually on the Saints team, the Saints defense. I'm just going to adjust this back. I think I would go Mike Evans over DJ Moore. Going back to that question, I still move DJ Moore up. Let me pull this up. DJ Moore is going to be a number 12. Mike Evans is going to be a number 11. All right, Kittle or McBride. Yeah, so I'm not benching McBride. Thank you for giving me a McBride question here, because I love talking about Trey McBride. Trey McBride, guys, he's tight end 2 this week in our projections, just behind Travis Kelce. And I think that you could honestly make an argument here. Let me pull up Kelce just for the comparison's sake here. I think you could really make an argument that McBride should be ranked ahead of Kelce. Some calling him Trey Gronkowski. Trey McBride, the role right here for Trey McBride is truly, truly elite. Let me go to the tight end tiers here on the TikTok Live. As I talk through this, I'll pull up the tight end rankings here as well on the YouTube Live. Trey Gronkowski. I do like that nickname, by the way. Target share now in 8 consecutive games. It's been over 2 months since we've seen a game where Trey McBride went under a 20% target share. And the fantasy points have followed, guys. He has 1 game under 5 points. Sorry, 1 game under 9 points in his last 8 games. He now gets the Eagles secondary, which has been terrible all season, an extremely pass funnel Eagles defense. In a game the Cardinals are going to get crushed. In a game Marquise Brown is out. He's going over 20% target share today for the 9th straight game. I can almost guarantee it as long as he doesn't get hurt. He's out there every single snap. He is the best receiving weapon for Kyler Murray in a game that they are 12.5 or 14-point underdogs. Trey McBride has to be started. And I think, like, if I have McBride and Kelce, I'm starting both of them. I've come around on the starting 2 tight ends thing, depending on the tight ends you have. Just comparing these numbers here to Kelce. I mean, have we seen Kelce go over 20% target share every single game? Nope. Actually, last week he didn't do it. And 4 games ago, he didn't do it. Like, the numbers here for Kelce are worse than they are for McBride. And if we compare them just over the course of the season, Kelce's still, 15.3 points per game. As bad as Kelce's been kind of late, he's actually still been pretty consistent, still been pretty reliable for tight ends. He's still number 1 in points per game, I think, by a decent margin. Still number 1 in yards per game by a decent margin. I think Kelce, by the way, could have a huge game today against the Bengals. He's definitely overdue for one of these big Kelce weeks. So, yeah, I still would go Kelce over McBride, but I'm playing McBride over everybody else. And there's not a single tight end I'm playing over McBride today. I think Evan Ingram's tight end 3. Then I would go Likely. Then I'd go Kittle. Then I'd go Goddard, Schultz, Kmet. That's how I have him ranked. Zamir or Bijan Robinson PPR, please, you the man. Yeah, Zamir versus Bijan is a tough one, man. I think that it probably does make sense to go Bijan over Zamir. If I'm in the fantasy football finals and Bijan Robinson is my first overall pick, I'm starting Bijan. Like, I don't think I could have the mental fortitude to bench my first round pick in a guy like Bijan, who we've seen have huge games. The Bears defense has been decent of late, but they've been not that great against running backs overall this season. Bijan, 75% of the snaps last week. He had an elite receiving role. Talking about running backs that can hit a 30% target share, Bijan's done it 3 times this season, including last week. He had 10 targets, caught 7 of those for 50 yards. Start Bijan. Yep, you got to start Bijan over Zamir White for sure. Connor or Saquon? It's Saquon over Connor very easily. I'm playing Achane over Zamir as well. I'm playing Stroud over Stafford. I do like both of these guys, but I do like Stroud a little bit more than Stafford. Hey, Sam, already went against CD. Yeah, it's tough, man. Hudson. It's tough in the fantasy football finals. Connor or Jalen Warren? And Tucker Craft, what you want, PPR. Thank you for everything this year. Hudson, thank you for tuning in here in Week 17. Even though you're down bad against CD Lamb already, it's not too late to turn it around. Still plenty of games left, only 2 games down. So I think Jalen Warren versus Connor, honestly, I think is pretty close. Let me go to the running back tier list here on TikTok as I talk through this one, pull up the running back rankings I have as well. And then we're going to do this comparison also in the Walter Picks app. By the way, guys, the best way you can possibly support me is by downloading the Walter Picks app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I really don't know what you're waiting for. If you have, shout out to you. I appreciate it. One of the other best ways you could really help me out is if you've already downloaded the Walter Picks app, toss us a 5-star review in the App Store. It takes you like a minute, and I can't tell you how much that helps us out. All right, we got James Conner. The Walter Picks app, it's the best place for fantasy insights, but it's also becoming the best place for player prop and betting insights too. We're going to have an insane March Madness experience this year also. So if you're trying to win March Madness, you got to download the Walter Picks app, and it's free. It's free. And there's some premium features in there, but if you use my code SAM, you'll help me out, and you'll get a 7-day free trial to all the premium features also. There's no reason not to download the Walter Picks app if you're trying to win. All right, Jaylen Warren versus James Conner. I knew this one was going to be close. I don't know how can we start James Conner against the Eagles? Like, they've actually allowed some decent running back performances of late. I'm terrified to start running backs against this team. The Eagles have allowed the 4th fewest points per game to running backs this season, but last week they let up 19 to Saquon. The week before that, they let up 20 to Kenneth Walker. The week before that, Rico Dowdle and Tony Pollard combined over 25 points. And the week before that, Christian McCaffrey had 20. So they played good running backs, but they've allowed like basically 20-plus points to running backs in every single game over the last month, their last 4 games. James Cook had 16, too. So, like, it's a scary matchup on paper. The Eagles have not been as good against running backs of late. Jaylen Warren is playing behind Najee Harris, but the Seattle Seahawks have been a really good matchup for running backs this season. He also had 6 targets last week, 5 catches, 30 yards for Jaylen. I think the ceiling's higher for Jaylen Warren. I do. I think you could argue the floor is a little bit better, though, for James Conner, especially with Marquise Brown out. Like, James Conner's snap percentage, I think, actually was down a bit. Yeah, only 58% of the snaps last week, 12 carries, 5 targets. Kind of a disappointing role. He did catch a touchdown, so he's had a good fantasy day for 3 straight games. Now, I think the floor is better for James Conner. I think the ceiling's a bit higher, though, for Jaylen Warren. If you already played against CeeDee Lamb, I think you probably do go Jaylen Warren here. And then Tucker Kraft over Juwan Johnson definitely does make sense to me. Walter Pick, Sam. Stroud or Fields, Reed or Higgins, PPR, Sam, same team. Thanks for the help. I got you on this one. We're going to get to thousands of start sits, by the way, on this live. And if I don't get to all the start sits, I try to get to all of them, especially today, especially in the finals. I'm going to try to literally get to every single start sit in the comments, so don't go anywhere if I haven't gotten to yours yet. Do appreciate you guys being patient because there's a lot of start sit comments to get to. But if I don't get to them, by off chance I don't get to your start sit, go to the Walter Picks app. It's the best place for start sit advice. Plus, we're going to probably talk about the players you're thinking about throughout the live if I don't get there to yours specifically. All right, Stroud or Fields? It's Fields. It's got to be Fields over Stroud. Justin Fields is giving you running back 1 type production at the quarterback position, plus he gets to throw the ball. I mean, it's really just not fair. Him and Lamar are by far the best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL, by far the best rushing quarterbacks for fantasy. We've seen Fields have at least 55 rushing yards now in 4 of his last 5 games. He had 97 rushing yards and a TD last week. We saw this at the end of last season too, guys. Look at week 17 last season. He got to play the Lions, but he had ripped off 132 rushing yards in week 17 last year. This year, he is coming off a 97-yard rushing game. Yeah, I would go Fields over Stroud. I do really like Stroud, too. The free player prop of the day, before I get back to ripping through these start-sit questions, it's Rashid Shaheed. Where's Alvin Kamara, bro? Yeah, I've left Alvin Kamara off by accident, but he's in tier 2. He's right before Achane. Sorry, right after Achane, I think is where I have Kamara, but right before Zeke. Eckler, Achane, or DK at flex. You had to go Achane over Eckler. I do like Eckler today against the Broncos, but I like Achane more with Mostert out. I think I would go Eckler over DK, though. And yeah, the free player prop today, it's Rashid Shaheed over 34.5 receiving yards. I like his over 2.5 receptions, too. Rashid Shaheed said a season high in route participation last week. 98% of the passing plays, Rashid Shaheed was out there. Sorry, I'm going behind the app here on the YouTube Live. 98% route participation, 9 targets for Rashid Shaheed last week. His reception line's at 2.5. There's no Michael Thomas still. He had 134 air yards last week, 5 catches. I think he had 80 yards or 70 yards. Is Kenneth Walker a start today? No, I'm pretty nervous about Kenneth Walker today. All right, let me pull down the free player prop. Let's get back to some of these start sits. I'll pull up DraftKings too as I talk through some of the start sits. I got my DraftKings line for us. All right, Zamir White. Yeah, so I do like Zamir White today. I'm seeing a lot of Zamir White questions. He's in play for sure. I actually have him ahead of Ty Chandler in my rankings. That's Zamir White. Let me go to the running back tiers here again. Again, I'm missing Kamara on these tiers. Hey, Sam, pick 2. Pacheco, Bijan, Swift. I'll go to QB rankings in a second. I see that question. Yes, so Zamir White's in play. He's a top 15 option. Amir Abdullah is not going to eat into his role nearly at all. He's going to go over 70% of the snaps. The Raiders are a run-first team. The Colts are a bad run defense. He had 22 carries, 145 yards. He also ran a route in over half the passing plays last week. Elite role here for Zamir White. I think he's a really high floor option. I don't know what the real ceiling is, but I would play Achane over Zamir, for example. Let me go to the QB list. Seeing some people ask for that. I got us with that. Let's get to this one. How are we thinking about the Rams today? I think they're going to score a lot of points against the Giants. That's how I'm feeling about them. I think Corinne Williams is the safest bet. At least one of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua will go off, probably both. I'm generally feeling very positive about the Rams offense. I don't know how you couldn't be feeling positive about the Rams offense. All right, Javonte Williams, Zay Flowers, Amir White. Yeah, let's talk about Javonte Williams in the Broncos for a second. I mean, what a difficult offense to try to project today, the Denver Broncos. Just looking at their depth chart, like who is going to play? Who is going to actually contribute for the Denver Broncos today? They have no Courtland Sutton today. First game all season without Courtland Sutton, who's been by far their best offensive player this season. He leads the team in touchdowns. He has more games with a touchdown than without. With no Russell Wilson today because they didn't want to pay him in future seasons. So Russ is done in Denver. So we're going to see Jarrett Stidham out there. We've seen small samples from Jarrett Stidham. I don't think he's awful, but I also don't trust him at all. Even in a good spot here against the Chargers, abysmal secondary. I think we're going to see over a third of the targets go to the running backs. Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine, Jaleel McLaughlin, Jerry Jeudy. Will the real Jerry Jeudy please stand up? Jerry Jeudy has no excuse today. He gets the Chargers, and there's no Courtland Sutton. There's no Marvin Mims. It's Jerry Jeudy competing for targets alongside Lil Jordan Humphrey and Brandon Johnson. And we might see Philip Dorsett even play today. Yeah, Philip Dorsett still in the NFL on the Denver Broncos. He actually hasn't played since week 1. So I don't even know if he's still on the team. I don't know what to think about the Denver Broncos today. Javonte Williams should be a good option, but I feel like the floor is actually pretty low for Javonte. This whole team, I feel like, has a kind of low floor. I'm not feeling super confident even about Jeudy. Javonte only played 40% of the snaps last week. I mean, at this point, Javonte, coming into this season, guys, Javonte Williams was dealing with an ACL. He was coming off an ACL, PCL, and LCL or MCL. ACL, PCL, and MCL tears. Like a really bad knee injury from last year. At this point, the Broncos are out. They're benching Russ. They have no Sutton. They have no Marvin Mims. Like, what's the point of putting out your running back, who, by the way, has averaged under 3 yards, under 2.5 yards per carry in 2 straight games? So he hasn't been efficient. And you're not even trying to win anyway. I'm very nervous for Javonte. Is kind of what I'm saying. I think I would go Zay Flowers and Zamir White over Javonte for that reason. If you played against Lamb, you are beat. No need to do anything. Yeah, Wayne, you're not entirely wrong, but it's not over. It's not over till it's over, man. And we could see some other big games. Probably not as big as what we saw from CeeDee Lamb last night, but we could see some other big games. And I think Tyreek Hill even could beat what Lamb did. If Tyreek Hill does, by the way, what CeeDee Lamb did last night, not saying that's an easy thing to do, but we have seen Tyreek Hill do CeeDee Lamb type things this season, he's going to break the all-time receiving record, almost definitely. All right, good morning, Sam. With Mostert out, I need to consider playing Achane. Should I replace Collins, Evans, Olave, or Kamara? Full PPR, thanks. Let's get these chips. Yeah. Kamara versus Achane is a really close one. I'm not benching Nico Collins today. I really don't want to bench Chris Olave. I really don't want to bench Mike Evans either. Let's do Achane versus Kamara here. Kamara dealing with an injury himself. I think actually Achane is going to rank a little bit better than Kamara. And honestly, the matchups here, they're both bad. They're both bad. The Bucs are a pretty good run defense. The Ravens are a very good run defense. I think I'm going Achane over Kamara. You put Tua under Jordan Love. Yeah, I got Tua really low today because Tua is playing the Ravens, and the Ravens secondary, guys, has been very scary this season. We just saw Brock Purdy have his worst game of the season against the Baltimore Ravens. There's no Jalen Waddle for the Dolphins today, too, but it's really the matchup here. Let me pull up the numbers for how the Ravens have done against quarterbacks. So last week, they held Brock Purdy under 10 points. Trevor Lawrence only had 14 points. Stafford did okay against them. He had 23. Justin Herbert only had 14 points. Jake Browning, Joe Burrow did nothing. Deshaun Watson did nothing. Geno Smith did nothing. Josh Dobbs had a good game against them. Jared Goff did nothing. This is all the matchups against the Ravens. The Ravens defense is the best defense or the second best defense in the entire NFL. I could definitely point to plenty of better options than Tua for fantasy this weekend. These are fantasy tiers. These are fantasy rankings. Tua, we haven't actually seen Tua go over 20 fantasy points, guys. The last time Tua went over 20 fantasy points was week 8. It's week 17 here, and I want to be starting quarterbacks to go over 20 points, please. Like, please. It's the fantasy football finals. So, yeah, find better options than Tua. I would play Jaron Hall over Tua. And I don't feel great about that, but Jaron Hall at least has a good matchup. At least Jaron Hall also has his full suite of receivers, unlike Tua. The matchups are not comparable there, too. I play Derek Carr over Tua. At least Carr has a ceiling against the Bucs secondary. I play Baker Mayfield. I play Jake Browning over Tua. I'm definitely playing Stafford, Kyler, and Jordan Love over Tua also. Your streams have got me to the chip twice. Let's go. Last question for the year. Aaron Jones or Rashid Shaheed at flex, half PPR. So the projections are almost definitely going to show Aaron Jones over Rashid Shaheed here. And I think that makes sense. I think it makes sense to project Aaron Jones ahead of Rashid Shaheed. Like, Rashid Shaheed's prop lines are at the 30s, and he's the free player prop of the day. I like Rashid Shaheed. Half PPR, though, always benefits the running backs more than it's going to benefit the receivers. Oh, man, this matchup against the Bucs is so enticing here for Rashid Shaheed. The Saints passing offensive line, too, is ranking really high. That's encouraging. I would say that if you are, like, a big favorite in your fantasy football finals matchup for whatever reason, go with Aaron Jones because he's safer. He's definitely safer. But if you're looking for a ceiling, I would go Shaheed over Aaron Jones. The Vikings have been good against running backs this year. Aaron Jones is coming off a big game. Jahmyr Gibbs did have 24 points against them. He had 7 targets. He caught 4 of those for only 20 yards. He did score receiving. Sorry, he lost a fumble, actually, is what that's saying. He had a rushing touchdown. David Montgomery had a touchdown, too, against them. Joe Mixon had 15. Gosh, I think I would go Aaron Jones to play it safe. If it's a close matchup, I probably would go Aaron Jones. But if I'm down by a lot, I think I would go Shaheed over Aaron Jones. I'm playing Jaden Reed over Demarcus Robinson easily. Jaden Reed is an elite option. He's an elite. I got Jaden Reed ahead of all types of guys this week. I am missing some receivers, by the way, in this tier list on TikTok. If you're watching live on TikTok, but I have my full wide receiver rankings list in order on the YouTube Live. Come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. I'm telling you, it's a better viewing experience. Morning, Sam. Down 25 plus due to Breece Hall. Pick 2, Zeke, Zamir, DJ with a possible 40 to 50% target share. Alvin, good morning to you, man. Thanks for tuning into these lives all season. I appreciate you. We can come back from playing against Breece. So, yeah, you got to bench Zamir here, I think. I'm playing Zeke over Zamir. The floor, I mean, both Zeke and DJ Moore could go over 30% target shares. There's so few running backs that you can really say, like, this guy could legitimately get a third of his team's targets. And Zeke is one of those guys. He's done it in 2 of his last 3 games. And yeah, DJ Moore has to be started over Zamir White, especially if there's a PPR league with, I think it is, Alvin. Full PPR, KJ Osborne or Shaheed? Yeah, I'm going Shaheed over Osborne. Hey, Sam, Zay Flowers or Chuba today? Yeah, it's Zay. Is Puka going to play? Yep, Puka's going to play. Let me read you the injury statuses here. It's been mostly positive news here on the injury front this morning. Let me pull this up. Scroll down to it, actually, on my Twitter feed here. But yeah, the injuries... Cole Kmet is the latest. DK Metcalf not on here. I think I'm missing DeAndre Hopkins, potentially too. There's a few guys I'm missing. This is the guys that haven't played yet. This is the fantasy tiers for the guys that haven't played yet. Let me go to the running back tiers. By the way, if you want the full wide receiver rankings, come to the YouTube Live. It's right in the TikTok bio. It's just as free. I'm telling you, it's a better viewing experience. If you're watching live on TikTok, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button. All right, let's get to these injury reports. So not expected to play today. Not going to play. Raheem Mostert not going to play. Jacoby Brissett, who was going to be started over Sam Howell, he's not going to play. So we're going to see Sam Howell today. Marvin Mims and Cortland Sutton are both out. Still just impossible to trust Jerry Jeudy somehow. Sounds like Jamar Chase is going to play. He's technically a game time decision. Other guys expected to play. Isaiah Pacheco is going to play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to play. Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf are going to play. Zay Flowers is going to play. Michael Pittman, Puka Nacua, Jordan Addison, Alvin Kamara are going to play. Jerry Jeudy, Kyler Murray, they're both going to play. Cole Kmet, true game time decision. Unsure if he's going to play. DK or Godwin in PPR. This is a close one. Let's do this comparison here on the YouTube Live. DK Metcalf versus Chris Godwin. It's Metcalf. It's Metcalf over Godwin. I think the touchdown ceiling is a lot higher for Metcalf. Let's switch this back to PPR here. Might change it a little bit. Not really. It's Metcalf over Godwin. Ty Chandler or Trey McBride? Yeah, it's Trey. It's Trey McBride. Especially if this is PPR, you got to go Trey McBride. Do not leave Trey McBride on your bench in PPR leagues. He's the best receiving option for the Arizona Cardinals today. He hasn't been under a 20% target share in over 2 months. And there's no Marquise Brown, too. I mean, the floor is really high for Trey McBride. Zeke or Diggs, I'm projected to lose by 12. Yeah, you got to go Diggs. You got to go Diggs over Zeke if you're projected to lose by 12. Eckler, Kamara, or Bijan? I think it's Kamara, then Eckler, then Bijan. I think all three of these guys are tough to bench. This week, we got Alvin Kamara, we got Bijan, and we got Eckler. Eckler's been a polarizing guy this season. Yeah, it's Alvin Kamara first. It's Eckler second. It's Bijan third. All three are really elite receiving options. The best matchup here is Austin Eckler. The worst matchup here is Alvin Kamara, but Kamara's been so consistent. He's coming off his worst game of the season, but Alvin Kamara's last week, guys, was the first game all season Alvin Kamara has been under 10 PPR points. Only game all season, and he had 8.5. Like, the floor is really high. He actually played a season high, 65% snap percentage for Alvin Kamara. This is actually pretty surprising to see. The target share has been extremely consistent for Kamara. Yeah, I'd go Kamara here. It's tough to bench Kamara. I think the floor is a little bit lower for Kyler. Can you put the wide receivers on YouTube? Yeah, I got you with the wide receiver rankings here on YouTube. On the YouTube live. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now, by the way. If you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. Zachary Davis, Big Sam, just thanks to you, your live streams, and the Walter Picks app for getting me to my first championship in one of my leagues and almost all three of my leagues. Zach, thanks for this comment, man. These comments, like, this is what I do it for, man. Honestly, like, we grind all season and we're here, and it is hard to get here. If you're in 3 leagues, if you've been playing fantasy for more than even a year, it is not easy to make the fantasy football finals in truly competitive leagues. If you're here, man, we're almost there. It's not enough to celebrate making the finals. You got to definitely, be proud of getting there. But guys, there's no better feeling than winning in the fantasy football finals. There's the only better feeling than winning in the fantasy football finals is going back to back in the fantasy football finals. That is a better feeling. All right, down 35 due to Brees and CD. Yikes. Who would you start between Eckler, Devontae Smith, Zamir? Yeah, it's Eckler. Eckler over Devontae Smith and Zamir. And who would you start between Addison and Dobbs? PPR, but another league. Yeah, so, gosh, Addison is a really, really difficult decision. He is going to play. Jefferson's going to play. Dobbs, though, there's no Christian Watson. There's no Dontavian Wicks, too. Yeah, it's Dobbs. It's Dobbs over Addison. I think Dobbs has a similar ceiling, better floor, I would argue, for Romeo Dobbs. I like Dobbs and Jaden Reed a lot today. Pickens, B-Rob, or DeMarcus. Probably Pickens there over B-Rob and DeMarcus. Puka or Collins for PPR championship. Oh, gosh, I want to start Puka. And you kind of have to start Puka and Collins. I think Nico's honestly going to project better. Without Tank Dell, Nico's a lock this week. Titans secondary. Puka gets the Giants secondary. You got to start both them. You got to find a spot for both them. But yeah, I'm going Nico over Puka. I'm playing Zeke over Devontae Adams. Unless even a PPR league, I think it makes sense. Hey, Sam, this is so hard. Puka, Kamara, JT, or ETN. If that's a PPR league, no, it's Puka. It's Puka over Kamara. It's Puka over JT. It's Puka over ETN. If that's a PPR league. If it's a half PPR league or non-PPR league, then it gets much, much closer. But I would play Puka over Kamara. I would play Puka over JT. I think. Yeah, Walter agrees with me here too in the YouTube live. It's a close one for sure, but I think I'm starting Puka Nacua in all PPR leagues. James Conner or Swift projected to lose by 10. Yeah, it's Swift. So the first Swift question I've seen, but Swift he's in a good spot this week against the Arizona Cardinals. They've been absolutely crushed by running backs this season. Let me raise this up a little bit here. Swift playing over half the snaps. Swift had 20 carries last week. He did score a touchdown last week too. 15 points for Swift. His first game over 10 points since week 11. But we look at these numbers. Let me pull the running back ranks here on the YouTube live. Let's go to the running back tiers here. We're already on there. Let's go to the tight end tiers here actually on the TikTok live. Actually, go to the must starts. I don't think I've even shown those yet on the TikTok live. But we look at the numbers here against the Arizona Cardinals on the ground, and it's hard not to get excited a little bit for DeAndre Swift. And the problem for DeAndre Swift all season has been Jalen Hurts stealing so many touchdowns. I mean, the rushing touchdowns have been truly incredible from Jalen Hurts this season in the push-tush or the brotherly shove or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it really is impacting DeAndre Swift's touchdown ceiling and floor every single week. But then you look at the numbers here and the running back performances against the Arizona Cardinals, and you kind of have to start Swift, especially if you're going for a ceiling game this week. There's no defense that's allowed more points. There's no defense that's allowed more points per game to running backs than the Arizona Cardinals. Last week, Khalil Herbert had 20 points. The week before that, Christian McCaffrey had 42 points. We could legitimately see a 30-plus point bomb from DeAndre Swift this week. We've already seen it against this defense. Karen Williams had a 38-point bomb against the Arizona Cardinals. Devin Singletary went for 20. Bijan Robinson went for 20. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt combined for 20. Gus Edwards had 30 points. Karen Williams again had 22. Christian McCaffrey again had 50 points against the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Swift could go 100-plus yards, multiple touchdowns today. Like, the ceiling is there for Swift for sure. So I do feel pretty good about Swift in general. Samster, we've made it to the finals back-to-back seasons. Adrian, that's what I'm talking about, man. If Chase plays, would you start him over Metcalf, Eckler, Rice? I'm not starting him over Eckler. I'm not starting him over Rice. I don't know if I'm starting him over DK Metcalf either. I think that one's closer than Rice and Eckler. I'm definitely not starting Chase over Rice or Eckler, though. And I don't feel good, by the way. Like, I don't feel good, just in physically. I don't physically feel good about benching Jamar Chase in the fantasy football finals. I don't think you can physically feel good about benching your first round pick in the finals, just in general. Like I said this about Bijan. I feel similarly about Eckler, Jamar Chase, Travis Kelce. Some of these guys you took in the first round, you kind of got to play them in the fantasy football finals. I know that was a while ago, and you don't need to be locked into the draft order by any means. We have new information now. But, yeah, I think I probably would go Chase over Metcalf. Looking at this, it's close enough that the ceiling here for Chase, man, wow. I mean, he's got one of the highest ceilings in all of fantasy, and we've seen it this year. He had a 50-point game. Yeah, I'm going Jamar over Metcalf, but it's a close call, I'd say. All right. Hey, sorry if I was unclear. PPR need 3. Oh yeah, that's much better here. You got to bench ETN. You're playing Puka, Kamara, JT over ETN, and I like ETN this week. I do like ETN. Noah Brown over OBJ. Yep, Noah Brown is an elite ceiling today. Nico, Jefferson, Puka. Yeah, you got to bench Puka. I'm playing Nico over Puka. I'm playing Jefferson over both of them, though. Jefferson needs to be started for sure. Same thing with Cooper Kupp this week, too. You got to start Kupp. You got to start Puka. Start 2, please. Yeah, just go Kupp and Puka. Regardless of what the rankings say here, Jesse, if you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, they're going to combine over 20 points, definitely. And they could combine to 50 points. The floor and ceiling combo, when you play both of them, they're going to get, close to half of the targets on this offense. So, yeah, play Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I think at least one of them is going to absolutely pop off. Zeke or White for running back. It's Ezekiel Elliott, guys. Ezekiel Elliott, the target, the receiving role for Zeke versus the receiving role for Zamir White is not comparable. Let's pull this up quickly, and it's going to be even a little bit skewed because Zeke had a lot of games this season when Ramondre Stevenson was playing, but even still, we look at these receiving roles, I bet, on the YouTube Live, it's not going to be close. Look at this, the difference here. Zeke is averaging 3 receptions per game. That's over 3 times the amount of receptions per game for Zamir White. Zeke has had a 30% target share, or at least in 2 of his last 3 games. Zamir White is not going to come anywhere close to a 30% target share. All right, we got Walter Pick subscribing on the TikTok Live here. Sit 1, DK, Bijan, Pacheco, PPR. You're sitting Pacheco. On paper, a good spot here for Pacheco. Pacheco has had some good games down the stretch, too. The Bengals have been horrible of late. They've been really, really bad. We haven't seen Pacheco go over 20 in a little bit. Definitely he could do this. I think Clyde will mix in here too, though, and I like Bijan and DK more. I think the ceilings are higher for them. I would play Zamir over Aaron Jones. I'm definitely playing Nico Collins over Ty Chandler. I do not think that one is very close. All right, let's get back to some of these. Sorry if I just skipped a question there on the TikTok Live. I'm not sure if I did or didn't. James Conner or Achane? It's Achane. Achane over James Conner easily. Who are your must starts? Yeah, so let me go to I got the must starts actually up on the TikTok Live. You got to start Brock Purdy, Patrick Mahomes, Trey McBride. The quarterbacks I really like the end of the QB tier that I like is Purdy and Mahomes. After Purdy and Mahomes, I get a little bit nervous. So I want to start Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, and Patrick Mahomes. That's the top 7. After that, I think you get into some sketchy territory. At the tight end position, start Trey McBride, Start him. He's been over 20% target share in 8 consecutive games. Some people out there calling him Trey Gronkowski, and I think that name is pretty fitting. I don't think he's got the blocking capacity of Rob Gronkowski, but he's got the receiving role that Gronk had to some extent, and there's no Marquise Brown, and they're playing the pass funnel Eagles defense that has not had a good secondary all season. Start Trey McBride. Start Trey McBride. Start Trey Gronkowski. I would start Trey McBride, over Pacheco. If you have Kelsey and McBride, start Kelsey and McBride. James Cook, I haven't seen any questions about him today. He has to be started in a huge, huge smash spot against the Pats. The Bills are 12.5 point favorites in that game. Zeke needs to be started. He's seen over a 30% target share in 2 of his last 3 games. Elite floor, especially in PPR leagues. I like Isaiah Likely if you need someone at tight end and you don't have a guy like Trey McBride or Travis Kelce. The only tight ends I like more than Isaiah Likely are Evan Ingram. That's it. I'd play Evan Ingram over Likely. That's it. Then I think I'd go Likely. Kittle versus Likely I think is close, but Likely is in that Mark Andrews role. The Dolphins have not been amazing against tight ends this season. Jaden Reed, Nico Collins, both in really good spots this week. There's no Dontavian Wicks. There's no Christian Watson. Jaden Reed against the Vikings could win fantasy football leagues. Nico Collins, though, against the Titans, I think is going to win fantasy football leagues. We have not seen very many games with a fully healthy Nico and a fully healthy CJ Stroud and no Tank Dell. We have seen games with a healthy Stroud and Nico with Tank Dell. And in some of those games, we saw Nico Collins rip over 25 fantasy points. Actually, 4 of those games, we saw Nico Collins go over 23 PPR fantasy points. We've seen 2 games, where he had at least 34 PPR points. Nico Collins has a truly elite ceiling today, and I think a pretty high floor too with no Tank Dell. So I like him a lot. CJ Stroud, I'd like 2 against the Titans secondary. I am not benching Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, guys, is a top 12 fantasy football wide receiver right now. There's a lot of rookie wide receivers to start this week, but none more than Rashee Rice, who's seeing the highest usage of his young career. Over 75% snap share, 3 straight games. Rashee Rice has not fell under a 26% target share in 5 consecutive games. He's got at least 6 catches in 5 consecutive games. He's going to hit at least 5 catches against the Bengals, who have, by the way, been one of the worst defenses over the last month. So, Rashee Rice needs to be started for sure. And then at running backs, I like Travis Etienne. I like Austin Eckler. I like Ty Chandler, and I like Zamir White. I like Zamir White a little bit more than Ty Chandler. I like Travis Etienne and Austin Eckler even more than both of them. I think Eckler is definitely startable. There's no Keenan Allen for the Chargers again. Eckler has a legitimate chance to lead this team in receiving. Josh Palmer is out also. I want to pull up Etienne here too. We haven't talked a ton about Etienne, but Etienne needs to be started, guys, in almost all situations here against the Carolina Panthers. There's no Trevor Lawrence today. That does make Ridley a lot less appealing to me, by the way. I don't trust CJ Beathard, who's going to be starting for the Jaguars, but I do trust Travis Etienne, who's hit over a 70% snap share, or at least a 69% snap share in 3 straight games. He hasn't fell below a 60% snap share once this entire season. Etienne only had 6 carries last week against the Bucs. I do expect a much more run-heavy game script here for the Jags, though, this week with no Trevor Lawrence. I think we see maybe the most rushing attempts we've seen for Etienne this season against the Panthers. He's got an elite floor and elite ceiling. He projects extremely well. I do like Etienne even more than Eckler. But, both guys, good options. Those are the must starts. The must benches. Be very careful with Tua today. I would not start Tua today against the Ravens. They have really not allowed very, very many big quarterback performances. T. Higgins, I'm pretty nervous about too with Jamar Chase playing. I think the floor for T. Higgins is low. I don't think you can start Jackson Smith and Jigba this week. Quentin Johnston, despite being the only body left in the receiving room, cannot be started by any means. Jerry Jeudy, similar thing. Quentin Johnson, Jerry Jeudy. They're literally the only receivers left standing, and they still can't be started in fantasy football. Bad sign for both those guys. Jahan Dotson can't be started. He's probably in the waiver wire most leagues. Josh Downs, we've known not to trust him for quite some time. Jacoby Myers, I'm a little bit nervous about too. I would try to find a better option than him. B-Rob, Brian Robinson, he's back. Can't be started against the 49ers as a huge underdog. Clyde Edwards-Helaire can't be started with Isaiah Pacheco back. Antonio Gibson can't be started with Brian Robinson back. Gus Edwards, I don't think it could be started any weeks this season in PPR leagues. So I want nothing to do with Gus Edwards, as I haven't all season. I've been wrong about that all season, and I'm still benching Gus Edwards. Pick one: Godwin, Singletary, Hubbard, Zamir. I'm going Zamir over Singletary and Zamir over Chuba Hubbard. Zamir versus Chris Godwin is probably a little bit closer, assuming this is a PPR league, which it probably is. I still think the Zamir White's probably the answer. Godwin has probably actually Godwin here in a PPR league. Wow, it's close, yeah. It's Zamir. I'd go Zamir White over Godwin. Godwin's target shares have been really consistent. Godwin has 34 targets in his last 3 games. He's hit over 30% target share in 3 straight. It's Tua for Bryce Young. It's Tua or Bryce Young for me. Yeah, you got to go Tua there. You can't play Bryce over Tua. I think Bryce is our lowest projected quarterback this week. Lockett or Osborne? Yeah, I'm going Lockett over Osborne. I do think Lockett has week winning potential, league winning potential for Lockett this week. We'll pull up Lockett in a second. But yeah, man, the targets have been consistent here for Godwin. Still, though, the fantasy games haven't been huge. He's not done much with the targets that he's been getting. I think I would probably go Samir over Godwin, but I do think it's close. And Godwin dropped 20 last time they played the Saints. Yeah, he did. This is definitely a slightly different time, right? I mean, they played the Saints a while ago. Let me pull up Godwin again here. Last time, there's week 4. I mean, there's a whole different lifetime ago. Last time they played the Saints, week 4. I don't remember. I think Lattimore was playing in that game, if I recall correctly. Tight end rankings. I got you with the tight end rankings here on the YouTube Live. I got you with the tight end rankings here on the TikTok Live. I got you guys. We are going to get to every single player. We're going to talk about every single player. We're going to talk about every single game. We're going to get thousands of start sits like we have every single Sunday morning. I appreciate you guys so much that are in this live stream right now. Seriously, I appreciate you. I'm proud of you for making the Fantasy Football Finals. If you made it there, if you didn't make it there, thanks for tuning in. Nonetheless, we will talk about some things unrelated to season-long fantasy too, like our DFS lineups, like the player prop of the day, which has cashed 26 times and only lost 12 times this NFL season. Truly proud of that record too. We've been cashing all season. Rashid Shaheed is going to cash for us today. All right, Pitts or Kincaid, PPR, and Ridley or Higgins. Freddie, that is some tough decisions here in week 17. Pitts versus Kincaid. Let me go to the tight end tiers here. I got them up right now. I got Pitts at the end of tier 3. I got Kincaid at the start of tier 4. It is so tough to trust Dalton Kincaid. I was on this, a couple months ago with Kincaid. He was one of the guys that I was pushing really hard for people to trade away earlier in the fantasy season because he was really great when Dawson Knox was out. Dawson Knox is back, and Dawson Knox is playing pretty significant role in the Bills' offense, significant enough that Kincaid is just not startable in fantasy. Like the floor is so low for Kincaid with Knox potentially stealing that touchdown or stealing a couple of those big catches. That's all it takes. And all of a sudden the floor gets really low for Kincaid. I think the ceiling's still high. We know Kincaid's really good, and that Bills offense can score a lot of points. Also, the Pats have been very good against tight ends this season. Kyle Pitts has quietly been one of the best player props to be betting on all season. He's hit over his prop line in like 8 of his last 10 games. But that's not saying that much. His prop lines are really low. He's had at least 6.5 points in 4 straight games, though. He is seeing pretty consistent usage. The floor is obviously really low for Pitts, too, though. I would go Pitts over Kincaid. Long way of saying that. And then Ridley versus Higgins. I think I'm going Higgins over Ridley just because of the quarterback situation. For Ridley, I think I prefer starting Higgins over him. Can you go to running back and wide receiver? Yep. Yo, what's up? Sam. Luke, what's going on? Deontay Pickens or Spears? Yeah, I'd go Pickens over those guys. All right, there's a few receivers missing here on the TikTok live, but for the most part, this is accurate. And if you're watching live on TikTok, you want my full wide receiver rankings, come to the YouTube live. I got all my wide receiver rankings literally up on the screen right now on the YouTube live. All right, we're going to pull down the free player prop here. It was Rashid Shaheed over 34.5 receiving yards. I would go Kraft over Juwan Johnson. I'm going Kmet over Everett if Kmet plays. Kmet is a true game time decision, so it's not a guaranteed thing. Kmet is even going to play today, so you got to be aware. And honestly, I lean towards Kmet not playing just because of this late report that changed him sort of from a probable to a truly questionable this late in the week and before the game. I would put Everett into your lineup right now, and then I'd wait on the Kmet news. And if Kmet plays, I'd switch that back. But I'd prepare as if Kmet's not going to play because he's a true game time decision. I'm playing. Oh, man, Waller versus Kraft. Waller was another one of these guys on one of my teams that just could not come through last week and led to a loss for me last week. Kraft does project better than Waller here. There's no Luke Musgrave coming back. Kraft is out there every single snap. He's had a really significant role for the Packers. I think you got to go Kraft. You got to go Kraft over Waller. Chuba Hubbard or Singletary PPR. That one's got to be close. Let's see here. I'll pull the running back tier list next. Let's go to that actually right now on the TikTok live. Chuba Hubbard versus Singletary, yeah, I have them both in tier 5 on my running back list. I got Chuba Hubbard over Singletary, though. Honestly, though, with CJ Stroud back, the Titans have been pretty good against running backs this season, especially in comparison to their secondary. Chuba Hubbard, though, he is the clear lead back for the Panthers. He does catch passes. He's hit over 60% snap share in 5 consecutive games. He scored last week. He's got at least 16 carries in 4 straight. Singletary gets the Titans. They've been a better defense against running backs than the Jags have been. Yeah, it's Chuba Hubbard over Singletary, but it's close. Smith or Jaden Reed? I'm going Jaden Reed over Devontae Smith, if that's who you're talking about with Smith. I'm going Stroud over Stafford, too. Achane over Derrick Henry. I'm playing Reed over Chandler. PPR, I'm playing Saquon over Chandler, and I'm playing Reed over Chandler, too. In PPR leagues, guys, do not leave Jaden Reed on your bench. Jaden Reed ranks as a top 15 wide receiver this week. Jaden Reed is playing without Christian Watson, is playing without Dontavian Wicks. Jaden Reed missed last week. He'll be back. Jaden Reed, guys, in his last 6 games, Jaden Reed has at least 15 PPR points in 5 of his last 6 games. He's been one of the more efficient receivers in the NFL this season. Now he gets a spot against the Vikings without some of his top receivers alongside of him. Should I start T or Ingram at flex for the championship game? Brandon, man, this is a tough call, but with Trevor Lawrence out, you got to lean T. Higgins here. Hey, Sam, happy Championship Sunday. Pick 2. Happy Championship Sunday to you, Tony. Happy Championship Sunday to all of you. Everyone, especially if this is your first Championship Sunday, like, take it in, guys, because this is what it's about. This feeling of today, everything is on the line. This is it. This is all that we worked for all season. It all comes down to this. And this week matters so much more than all the other weeks. This is how American playoffs are constructed. This is not the Premier League, where all that matters is the regular season. This is your fantasy football league, where literally all that matters is week 17. That's it. That's all that matters. That's what we built for all season. And yeah, you got to go T. Higgins over Evan Ingram in these spots. Let me get back to this TikTok live subscriber comment that led me down that rant there. All right, let's get to, hey, Sam, this is my first championship match. Let's go Jordan Addison or Gus Edwards. Yeah, I'm not a Gus guy. I would go Jordan Addison. Olave, Puka, Nico Pittman. Pick 2. Gosh, man. I mean, I think you got to go Puka and Nico over Pittman. Yeah, it's Puka and Nico over Pittman and over Olave. All those are such good options this week. But yeah, I'm not benching Puka and I'm not benching Nico Collins. JT, Kamara, Puka, Rice in the flex. Yeah, it's Puka. It's Puka versus Rice. Oh, gosh. Actually, is Rice ahead of Puka here? Let's see. Yeah, it's Puka. It's Puka over Rice. I want to start all of these guys, honestly. All of these guys are really elite options. Austin, I see why you're in the finals. But yeah, I'd go with Puka over Rice. QB rankings, I got you with the QB rankings. McLaurin or Zeke? Yeah, I'm going Zeke over McLaurin really, really easily. Ty Chandler over Javonte for me as well. I like Higgins more than Ridley. As we've talked about it more in this live stream. Like, I feel better about – I don't feel great about the Jaguars' offense other than Travis Etienne with their backup quarterback in for Trevor Lawrence. Does that say Zeke or Purdy? I'm definitely playing Purdy over Zeke, if that was the real question there. Yeah, definitely Purdy over Zeke. Obviously, not benching Kelsey, but should I panic? It's been a rough few weeks with him. Yeah, I wouldn't panic. I wouldn't panic for Kelsey at all, honestly. It's been a rough few weeks for Travis Kelsey, but then when you pull up his game logs, which we are doing right now on the YouTube Live, we're live on TikTok and YouTube right now, by the way. If you're watching live on TikTok, I'm telling you, it's just as free. Come to the YouTube Live. It's a better viewing experience than the TikTok Live. That's the only reason to go. I want you to get the best viewing experience, and I can just pull things up on my screen easier on the YouTube Live. Like, we're looking at the Travis Kelsey game logs right now on the YouTube Live, and we're seeing a whole lot of green. Travis Kelsey has at least 7 targets in 5 of his last 6 games. That's what we're seeing. So yeah, the production, it's been a little bit down for Kelsey. He's been under 10 points in 2 straight games. I mean, when was the last time Travis Kelsey went under 10 points in 2 straight games? He did not do that once last season. He did it once the season before that. He's not going to go under 10 points today. He is not going under 10 points today. The floor is extremely elite. I'm not worried really at all, honestly, about Travis Kelsey. He's still out there every single passing play. He's still the number 1 red zone option for the Chiefs. The big reason Kelsey's been kind of down in fantasy is the touchdowns, man. The touchdowns. Where have the touchdowns been for Kelsey? He has not scored in a month and a half. I think he scores today. I think he probably wins fantasy leagues for those that have him. The only tight end I'm playing over Trey McBride today is Travis Kelce. And I think if you have both them, you should be starting both of them. That's how good I think of an option both those guys are. Yeah, I'm playing Kyler Murray over Tyrod Taylor pretty easily here. Kyler's running enough that definitely is a good option. Samuel, Spears, Douglas, PPR. I think it's Douglas here in a PPR league. And I think I'm surprised how well Samuels projects. And it's because has seen consistent targets here. You look at the target shares for Curtis Samuel, he's had at least a 19% target share in 4 straight games now. His route percentage was down a bit last week. Like, I don't think these are the best targets here. Demario Douglas is the clear top receiver for the Pats. Demario Douglas, I think, is the better option over Curtis Samuel. And then Spears is definitely one of the more underrated running backs, especially backup running backs in the league. But yeah, I go Douglas here in a PPR league. I think that makes sense. Eckler, Aaron Jones, Zeke. Eckler versus Zeke is an interesting one. Eckler and Zeke are much better options than Aaron Jones today. So we're gonna remove Aaron Jones from this one entirely and just talk about Zeke versus Eckler here. I do think Zeke makes sense. The matchup is definitely better for Eckler. The Bills haven't been great against running backs, but the Broncos have been horrible against running backs. Achane or Bijan, I'm going Achane over Bijan. I'm playing Chuba Hubbard over Singletary. I'll talk about the defenses in a second. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit the like button. Hit the like button. It takes you 2 seconds. I'm telling you, hit the like button. It helps me way more than you realize. All right, yeah, you got to go Zeke over Eckler. We got to go Zeke over Eckler. There's no way to bench Zeke with these numbers that he's seeing. I mean, Eckler is certainly one of these guys that in theory could hit a 30% target share, but he hasn't done it once this season. Like, Eckler should be in the mix to lead the Chargers in receiving in a game that they don't have Keenan Allen or Josh Palmer, but they also don't have Justin Herbert. And I don't think Easton Stick is it at all. We saw a decent game from Eckler last week, 11.6 points. That was the decent game. And Zeke has basically been at that or above in 4 straight games. And he's hit a 30% target share in 2 of his last 3 games. I think Zeke over Eckler makes sense. Do I start Romeo Doubs, Terry McLaurin, Gabe Davis, or Pickens in a PPR league? Yeah, it's Doubs or Pickens. It's Doubs or Pickens over Terry. And we cannot be starting Gabe Davis here, guys. Like, sure, we know the ceiling's there for Gabe Davis, but we also know very clearly Gabe Davis can finish with 0 points any given week. We just can't be having that in the fantasy football finals. Sorry, so it's Doubs and it's Pickens. And I think the answer here is going to be Pickens. And Pickens is coming off a huge game, really just one big catch for Pickens. But yeah, he's the best receiver on the Steelers right now. The Seahawks secondary has not been very good this season. And yeah, Pickens I think is coming off his best game of the season. Yep, 35-point bomb from Pickens last week. Pickens was the wide receiver 2 in fantasy last week. He scored 2 touchdowns. He had 195 yards and only 4 catches. Ridiculous stuff there for Pickens. He's got to be started over Dobbs. I think that makes sense. I'd go Pickens over Najee too. Yep. Need 2. DeMarcus Robinson, Addison, Dobbs. You got to start Diggs here. You really need 1. You're not going to start KJ Osborne or Romeo Doubs or Jordan Addison or DeMarcus Robinson over Stephon Diggs. Like, I get the matchup is tough here for Diggs. I got him ranked low too, but I'm not starting any of these guys over Diggs. And then Dobbs versus Addison, I'm going Dobbs. I'm playing Dobbs over Addison. I'm playing Dobbs over Osborne. I'm playing Dobbs over DeMarcus Robinson too. I don't hate DeMarcus Robinson, but I think the floor is higher for Dobbs than all of these guys. And I think the ceiling is honestly not that off too. All right, Sam, please sit 2. Rasheed, Nico Pittman, Achane, Diggs, 1.2 PPR. Wow. Yeah, you got to bench Achane in this one. And I think you bench Diggs too. I think you play Rasheed, Nico, Pittman. Play Rasheed Rice, Nico, and Pittman, bench Achane and Diggs. I don't like benching Achane, by the way, with Mostert out, but I don't want to bench, and you can't bench Rasheed Rice against the Bengals and how bad they've been and how good Rasheed Rice has been. You can't bench Nico Collins against the Titans secondary without Tank Dell and with a healthy CJ Stroud. And there's no benching Michael Pittman, who's been insanely consistent every healthy game this season, especially in PPR leagues. Yeah, I mean, Cade, your team is absolutely stacked, man. You got to win this one. And yeah, that's how I would play it. Chuba Hubbard or K9. I'm very nervous for Kenneth Walker today. I think I would go Chuba Hubbard over Kenneth. PPR, Stafford or Stroud. I'm going Stroud over Stafford. Let me put the QB ranks here on the YouTube live. We got the QB ranks up on the TikTok live. Let me go to the tight end ranks next here on the TikTok live. Sam Cup, Olave, Swift, Saquon. Need 1 flex and 1 PPR. Guess you got to start Cup, and then it's between Olave and Saquon. I'm playing Olave and Saquon both over Swift. I like Swift. I think Swift has an interesting ceiling today against the Cardinals, who have been crushed by running backs. But I would not play him over Saquon or over Olave still. And yeah, I think I'd go Saquon over Olave. Olave maybe has a slightly higher ceiling. Walter doesn't agree with that exactly, but Saquon's coming off a game where he didn't really come off the field. Saquon played 90% of the snaps last week. He had 23 carries, and he had the receiving role too. He had six targets, 29 opportunities for Saquon. Can tell you what, Chris Olave is not going to get 29 opportunities. Zeke or Zamir? Yeah, it's Zeke over Zamir. I'm playing Mayfield and Love. I like Mayfield and Love. I think I actually have Love ahead of Mayfield. Which do you think is safer, Kyler or Baker? Baker's probably a little bit safer. Gosh, with Kyler rushes, I'd say Baker's maybe a little bit safer. Kyler, I think, offers maybe a little bit more upside just because of the rushing. I'm playing Eckler over Connor. I'm playing Jamar Chase over Zamir White. Matt, say this one out loud. We're in the fantasy football finals. You took Jamar Chase with your first round pick. You're gonna start Zamir White over him. Like, I get it, and maybe we have Zamir White even projected better than Jamar Chase. But like, come on, man, we got to be starting Jamar Chase over Zamir White in the fantasy football finals. Like, we can't overthink it that much. Jamar Chase is a top 5 player in the NFL. And Zamir White is a backup running back who happens to be starting today. Lockett or Zamir White PPR? Yeah, I'm glad we brought Lockett back up. I think I would go Zamir White over Tyler Lockett, but I do really think Lockett's ceiling has been a little bit lost recently and is definitely still there. Let's see. Here, yeah, I'd go Zamir White, yeah, over Lockett. Good spot here for Zamir White against the Colts. The ceiling for Tyler Lockett is still there. We haven't seen him hit over 25 points since week 2. But he saw a 31% target share last week. That's Tyler Lockett. That was his second highest target share of the entire season. I think we could see a big Tyler Lockett game today for sure. I think the ceiling is definitely higher for Tyler Lockett than it is Zamir White. What do you think about Rashid Shaheed? Yeah, so Rashid Shaheed's actually the free player prop of the day. So let me pull this up. This is from the game logs and the Walter Picks app, by the way. If you're watching live on TikTok, if you're watching live on YouTube, I'll pull this up too on YouTube. The Rashid Shaheed game logs here. Rashid Shaheed, guys, they're setting his line at 2.5 receptions and 34.5 receiving yards. He ran a season-high 98% route participation last week. So that means he was running around every single passing play for the Saints. He had a 23% target share with 9 targets. He had caught 5 of those for 70 yards. 5 catches, 70 yards on 9 targets, and they're setting his line at 2.5 and 34.5 receiving yards against the Bucs secondary, which is the best matchup Rashid Shaheed has had since week 4 when he played the Bucs. And by the way, guys, week 4, go back to week 4. It was a while ago when the Saints and Bucs played. Rashid Shaheed in that game, Michael Thomas was playing in that game, by the way. He's not playing today. Rashid Shaheed in that game had 3 catches, 33 yards. He hit his overs. In a 3-catch, 33-yard game, like, he's going over. I think the line's at 34.5 or 35.5 right now for Rashid Shaheed. But yeah, Rashid Shaheed has a ceiling today, and I think that his props are really, really good values for sure. All right, let's get back to some of these start sits. Guys, we are about an hour and a half left in the live. We are still going to talk about every single player. We're still going to talk about every single game and every single start sit. We're going to do our best to get to as well. Good morning, Sam. It's Championship Sunday. Good morning, Ty. Love your app, and you got me to the championship. I appreciate you, man. And good morning, man. This is the best day of the year. I mean, it really is. For people in the finals, for people who win the finals, it doesn't get better than today, man. This is what it's all about. One last question. Jaden Reed or Ridley at flex? It's got to be Jaden Reed. Ty, Ridley's been good. He has actually been really good this season and down the stretch. Like, he's been a little bit boom bust. But Jaden Reed just has to be started, I think, over him. Like, you look at some of these numbers, and yeah, Ridley's averaging more points per game. He's averaging more yards per game. Jaden Reed's actually scoring more touchdowns. The snap percentages haven't been very comparable. There's a little bit of risk here with Jaden Reed because he's coming off an injury. He didn't play last week. But you look at the last 6 games for Jaden Reed, and he's had at least 15 points in 5 of his last 6 games. And now he gets a spot against the Vikings secondary, which has not been very good this season. Let me pull up the numbers here for the Vikings secondary. They just allowed 29 points to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They let 22 points to T. Higgins. DJ Moore had a good game against them. Chris Olave. Good receivers have good games against the Minnesota Vikings. Ridley, meanwhile, he gets a matchup against the Panthers. And the Panthers secondary has actually allowed some of the fewest passing yards in the entire NFL. They actually might be number 1. Let me pull this up here. In terms of passing yards allowed, the Panthers secondary is near the top of the league. Yeah, they've allowed the 3rd fewest passing yards per game in the NFL this season, the Carolina Panthers. And now they get CJ Beathard and the Jaguars. Just tough to trust Ridley in this spot. I trust Jaden Reed much more. even though he's coming off an injury. Good morning, Sam. Ship week. Yep, we are in the championship week. Let's get after it. PPR pick 1, Zeke HN. It's HN. It's HN versus Zeke. And this is the HN versus Zeke question. I think we had this earlier in the live. This is the quintessential, like, what are you about? What is your personality? Like, do you go take a step back from fantasy for a second? Are you someone who likes to take big risks for big rewards like me? That is very much my personality. That's why I would play HN over Zeke. But Zeke is absolutely a safer option than HN. And I think if you're looking in to lock in at least 10 points, like there's very few better options than Zeke. Zeke has over a 30% target share in 2 of his last 3 games. He's a massive underdog against the Bills. Zeke is not going to come off the field. He's been on the field over 82% of the snaps in 3 straight. He's the offense for the Pats right now, but he's on the Pats, and the Pats just will not score a lot of points this season in any game. So they're near the bottom of the league, if not last, in points per game on offense. So like the seal that caps the ceiling for Zeke just because the offense he's in, but the receiving role is absolutely there. HN, meanwhile, the ceiling for HN is well above 25 points. Actually, every single game this season, we've only seen it 3 times, but every single game this season that HN has at least 10 carries, he's gone over 25 points. The ceiling is there for HN. And there's no Raheem Mostert today. HN's going to get over 10 carries. I think Jeff Wilson will probably be more involved than we'd like him to be in fantasy land. Like Jeff Wilson could easily outcarry HN in this game in terms of touches. He could get close to half the work. I think he probably will get close to half the work. I don't think they're suddenly going to give HN like this huge workhorse role, but he's going to go over 10 carries almost definitely. And he's going to stay involved in the receiving game too. HN is an elite receiving back. He's not going to be likely like Zeke getting over a 30% target share, though we did see a 28% target share here from HN just a few weeks ago. I'm going HN, man. I think the ceiling is justifiable to start HN over Zeke. Like HN can win you your league. He can win the league. Zeke is not going to win your league, but he's going to help you not lose your league. So what's your mentality? Are you trying not to lose, or are you trying to win? I'm trying to win. I'm playing HN over Zeke personally. Last one, Puka over Taylor in flex. Yeah, if it's a PPR league, I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool going Puka over JT. I really don't want to bench either of them this week. I think they're both really elite options, both Puka Nacua and Jonathan Taylor. But in PPR, man, you cannot leave Puka on your bench. He's near all types of rookie records, and you know Stafford cares about that stuff. You know Puka cares about that stuff, and he gets the Giants. The Giants have been horrible on defense all season. The Raiders haven't been great against the run either this season, but they've been better of late. I'm going Puka over JT, yeah. Goddard or Likely? I think it's Likely over Goddard. I really do. Likely is playing the Mark Andrews role, and Goddard is starting to pick it up too. I actually think tight end 12 is probably a little bit too low here for Goddard. I actually think I have him ranked a little bit higher than this. The Dolphins have been a better matchup for tight ends than the Cardinals have been. Isaiah Likely is one of the main receiving weapons for the Ravens right now. He only had 3 catches last week, but he did a lot with them, 56 yards, excuse me. He's got at least 55 now in 3 straight games. This game should be, in theory, high scoring too. Yeah, I think I would go Likely over Goddard. It's a close call, though. Wide receiver tier list, please. Yeah, I got you with the wide receiver tier list on the TikTok live. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, smash the like button. All right, we got a bunch of people joining the YouTube live right now. We got to run it from the top here. So my favorite plays of the day. Let me pull this up, actually, the must-start list on the TikTok live. Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes, they're the end of the QB tier list. You need to play Mahomes, Purdy, Josh Allen, Stroud. You really need one of those guys if you don't have one of the truly elite options like Hurts, Lamar, Justin Fields today. All right, we're going to get to all the players, all the start sit comments. Guys, we're watching live on YouTube. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It's Championship Sunday. We grinded all season to get here. I appreciate you all so much. Stafford or Mayfield? Yeah, it's got to be Stafford over Mayfield. Good morning, Sam. Need your help one more time. Do I start Chase, Devontae Reed in the PPR flex? Vegas Bears, Broncos defense. I like the Raiders defense a lot. I definitely think the Broncos defense is pretty solid too. I would probably go the Raiders though. The Raiders are leading all defenses in fantasy points per game since their new head coach, interim head coach, took over. Steph Diggs is a stay away where possible. Steph Diggs versus DK is close though. I'm playing Zeke over Diggs and DK. I'm playing, I think, all 3 of these first guys in PPR leagues over Derrick Henry. This is a scary spot for Derrick Henry, guys. We talked about it the last time he played the Texans. He was a complete bust. Everybody was all in on Derrick Henry getting 2 matchups against the Texans again. But this is not the same Texans run defense. You can't just look at the numbers for Derrick Henry versus the Texans historically and apply that to this year. It's a whole different Texans defense. Last couple of seasons, the Texans have had the worst run defense in the league. Not the case this year. Also not the case that the Texans offense is abysmal this year. The Texans are actually favored in this game. And in games where the Titans lose, Derrick Henry is unstartable in fantasy because it's Tyjae Spears. It's the better receiving back on that team. All right, we got Steph Diggs. We got DK Metcalf here. It's Diggs over Metcalf. You got to go Diggs. It's a little scary against the Pats. Diggs, by the way, he's been under 10 points. I think 3 straight games. 3 straight games under 10 points, man. Diggs has been under 10 points in 5 of his last 6 games after ripping off 9 or 8 straight games to start the season over 10 points. Like, he is really falling off a cliff, and I think he still needs to be started over DK Metcalf. Like, Steph Diggs is still the Steph Diggs that we drafted back in August, and he's still, like, despite the tough spot against the Pats, like, I want to bench Diggs where I can, but I'm not playing DK Metcalf over him. I do like Jaden Reed a lot. I think Jaden Reed over T. Higgins makes a lot of sense. Achane, Zeke, Zamir White. I'm going Achane over Zeke. I'm going Zeke over Zamir White. Stafford or Love. Yeah, this one's close. I think I do have – I got Stafford over behind Love. I got Love 2 spots ahead of Stafford. Let's put the wide receiver rings here on the YouTube Live. We're watching live on TikTok. If you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube Live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. All right. Devontae Smith, Pittman, or McBride. Yeah, this is Pittman. I don't want to bench McBride, but you can't bench Pittman for McBride. You just can't do it. Like, if you have McBride and Kelsey, I assume you have Kelsey, by the way. If you are currently benching McBride, you better have Travis Kelsey, because otherwise you need to be starting Trey McBride, or as some people are calling him, Trey Gronkowski. But yeah, Pittman has not had a bad game. Pittman does not have bad games. Like, the consistency, even in this game where he played only 32% of snaps, he went over 10 points. Last time we saw Pittman go under 10 points was week 4. So yeah, Pittman's got to be started, man. He's got to be started. Even though he's coming off the injury, he's coming off a concussion, he should be cleared. Chicago, Denver, or Rams. Go with the Rams. The Rams get the Giants. They're huge favorites. JJ or Shaheed. If this is Justin Jefferson, which I think it is, right? Who else is JJ? I mean, I'm in on Shaheed this week. Shaheed's actually the free player prop of the day on this live stream, which we are 26-12 on the free player props this season. They are completely mispricing the Rashid Shaheed prop lines today. Like, it is rare for them to misprice this badly, honestly. I mean, Rashid Shaheed's coming off a 9-target, 5-catch, 70-yard game where he ran a route on every single passing play. There's no Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara is questionable. He's going to play. Olave's going to lead the team, but they're playing the Bucks, one of the worst secondaries in the league, one of the most pass funnel defenses in the league. The yards prop and the receptions prop are just simply too low for Rashid Shaheed this week. Whether or not they end up hitting, like, this is a mispriced line. That's exactly what I'm hunting for. That's exactly why we're 26-12 on the free player props this season. So that's the free player prop of the day. Hope you guys can all cash on that one. T or Addison? Yeah, I think I would go T. Higgins over Addison. A close one there, though, for sure. Brian Robinson or Jeff Wilson? I do not want anything to do with Brian Robinson today. I feel like B-Rob and, like, Gus Edwards are, like, kind of comparable. B-Rob gets he's coming back. We haven't seen him play in a little bit. So there's just risk inherently from that. How much will he play coming off the injury on a team that has nothing to play for? But also, he gets the 49ers, the third best team against running backs this season when it comes to fantasy. B-Rob is also still playing along. Who's going to get a lot of the receiving work? And they're huge underdogs, which I don't think bodes great for B-Rob. We haven't seen a running back go over 20 points against the 49ers once this season since week 2. Mixon had exactly 20. He didn't go over 20. He had exactly 20. Every other running back's been under 20 since week 2 when Kyren Williams had 29 against the 49ers back in week 2. So, like, the ceiling's just not there for B-Rob. I do think there is an interesting ceiling here for Jeff Wilson. I think he'll get around half the work here for the Dolphins. Honest opinion on Singletary this week. Yeah, I'll get to this one next. Achane versus Eckler. Singletary is a guy like I kind of want to be in on with CJ Stroud back. Like, I feel like the receiving upside is a little bit higher, but he hasn't seen huge receiving work. He only ran around 25% of the dropbacks last week, Devin Singletary, a season low, 44% snap share, or not season low, but although of late, that has me a tiny bit concerned here too. Like, I think the floor is just a little bit scary here for Singletary. It's not like the Titans are a great matchup for running backs either. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about Singletary overall. Zamir, Chandler, Pacheco. I would rank those guys in that order. Zamir, then Chandler, then Pacheco. Zamir White and Chandler are startable today for sure. Raiders defense, Bills defense. I'd go Bills over Raiders. Weather today. Finally, Ryder. Someone's thinking along the right lines. Weatherman Sam's here. Weatherman Sam has been here all season. We're 17 weeks in, 17th Sunday consecutively. And one of my main focuses, guys, this year was consistency. I'm really proud, honestly. We've hit 17 consecutive Sundays. What's 17 times 3? That's basically the amount of Sunday live streaming hours we will have had this season. And Weatherman Sam has had some moments, with the wind and calling it out. There's second straight week, a little bit less so than last week. Last week was, we were free and clear weather-wise, but there's no concerning weather today. The only thing you need to be aware of weather-wise, there's some possible light snow. We could have some snow on our TV screens today, and maybe some rain mixed in there too. In 2 games on the Northeast, the Patriots versus the Bills and the Falcons versus the Bears. This is in Buffalo, in Chicago. Both these games, we likely will see some snow, but not a lot of snow, and not really any wind. So this isn't going to impact the game, I don't think, at all. It might just be a little wet. Might be a little wet. Might be a little sloppy in these games. I don't think you really need to change any type of your decision-making, though, based on this weather. Just don't be surprised if you see some snowflakes and some raindrops in those games. All right, championship week. Trying to get the back-to-back in my home league. I'm telling you guys, for those of you in your first championship, focus, obviously, you just get the win today. But, we don't need to harp on this point too much today. But there's not a better feeling in the world than back-to-back championships, man. Just talk about just domination. All right, Chigo Konku, Darren Waller, Kraft, projected to lose. Yeah, I think this one's Kraft. Chig is definitely in play, too. Let's go to the tight end tiers here because this is a tight end question. And then I'll pull up the tight end rankings, too, on the YouTube Live here as well. Kraft is ahead of Waller for me, and they're both ahead of Chig. Chig is having a little bit of a late season breakout, and that is noteworthy here. I don't think we can trust Waller after last week. I could see the story around it, but Tucker Kraft isn't coming off the field. Chig and Kraft are playing 2 different roles. Kraft is a mainstay in the Packers offense right now, in an offense that has been really good passing the ball of late. Jordan Love is really coming on late in the season and uses the tight ends a lot. He's had at least a 17% target share in 3 of his last 4 games. That's pretty good for Tucker Kraft. Chigo Konku also, though, he's kind of exploding under the scene, but he's not out there every snap. He's not going to be out there over 75% of the snaps like Tucker Kraft is. But he did hit a 26% target share last game. He's hit over a 17% target share in 4 of his last 5 games. Now he gets the Texans, who are a better matchup than I think what Kraft has. This is close, man. This is close, but both are good options. I think I would go Kraft, though. I have a little bit more faith in the Packers passing attack than I do the Titans passing attack. That's ultimately what it comes down to for me. We will see Will Levis back out there, I think, today. I know today we will. All right, Achane or Eckler. This is a close one. Let me take a sip here of some coffee. Achane versus Eckler. I think the answer here is Achane. I think Eckler maybe is a little bit safer. I refuse to put my league-winning Devon Achane on the bench. I can't do it. Again, we've talked about this in this live stream already, but Devon Achane, I'll go to the running back tiers here on the TikTok live. We're live on YouTube and TikTok, by the way, guys. If you're watching live on TikTok, I'm telling you, the YouTube live is the best viewing experience of this live stream because I can share my screen and I can share the game logs that I'm talking about. It's right in the TikTok bio. It's just as free. Down to Josh Down, Cedric Wilson already played, I thought. I do like Rashid Shaheed as a sleeper today. I also like Demarcus Robinson and Noah Brown as sleeper wide receivers today. But yeah, Achane, guys, I've said this a couple times in the last 3 weeks, and it was wrong at least twice in the last 3 weeks about Achane, why we need to start him, and he has really disappointed us in a few consecutive weeks. But Raheem Mostert is out this week, and that was not the case in these past weeks. It's Achane and Jeff Wilson. That's it in the backfield today. I still think Jeff Wilson will probably play more than we want him to play, but I would be shocked if Achane doesn't get at least 10 carries, assuming he stays healthy in this game. And we've seen 3 games where Achane had at least 10 carries. In all 3 of those games, he had over 20 fantasy points. He had at least 100, at least 70 yards on the ground in all of those games. He scored at least 1 touchdown in all of those games. I'm not benching him, man. I'm playing him over Eckler. Yeah, Kamara, I accidentally left off this list, but he's right after Achane in my rankings. So I got Achane, then Kamara, then Zeke is how my rankings go. Also, if you're watching live on TikTok, come to the YouTube live. I'm telling you, my full rankings are up on the YouTube live. Not a player is missing from those. Zeke or Rice? Yeah, I'm going Rice over Zeke. It's got to be Rice. It's got to be Rice over Zeke. No benching Rashee Rice, especially in PPR leagues. How do you feel about the Ravens defense over Bears defense? I don't know about that. I mean, the Ravens defense, is better just generally, but the matchup's got to be considered, of course. And the Falcons are a much better matchup for a defense than the Dolphins are. Plus, there's going to be snow in that Bears game, which kind of has me excited for the defense. I would not call Pacheco a safe start. This is not the verbiage I would personally use. I think he's an okay start. I mean, it's a good matchup here for him against the Bengals, so I like that. I think it's a little bit risky just coming off the injury. Just a little bit risky. 60% snap percentage. That was one of his lower snap percentages of the season last week. He only had 2.4 yards per carry against the Raiders, 11 carries. He did have at least a receiving role, 4 catches. I think it's a good start, not a safe start for Pacheco this week. Go to wide receivers, please. Yeah, I got you with the receivers on the TikTok live. Kamara or Zeke? Yeah, I'm going Kamara over Zeke. Sam, here we are in the championship. Tad, let's go, man. I mean, the season flies by, Tad, but we have been grinding week after week after week after week for over 3 months just to get to today. And that's what it's all about. And now that we're here, we got to take a deep breath. We got to make the best possible decisions. That's all we can ask for. Make the best possible decisions. Not necessarily all the right decisions, but at least be able to sleep easy tonight heading into 2024, that you did everything that most optimally. And today here, Ted, with Chris Godwin, Ty Chandler, Zamir White, James Conner, I think we got to bench James Conner. I think we have to bench James Conner against the Eagles. The Eagles have been the number 1 defense against running backs this season. They've actually allowed a few good running back performances of late, but I think James Conner is way too risky against the Eagles. So that brings us to Ty Chandler, Zamir White, and Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, we called this on this live stream. We called this 3 weeks ago that Chris Godwin's targets were about to dramatically increase because his complaining had gone mainstream. It had gone to the mainstream media, and his complaining worked. The complaining has led to a huge boost in targets for Chris Godwin. The dude has 34 targets in his last 3 games, but he still hasn't had amazing fantasy performances. Actually, 2 of those last 3, he went under 15 points. I don't really love Chris Godwin and his ceiling against the Saints, even though the target volume's there. I do really like Ty Chandler and Zamir White. They both have good matchups. I like Zamir White actually more than Ty Chandler. Walter likes Ty Chandler a little bit more than Zamir White, but they're both better than Chris Godwin, I think, in PPR leagues. I'm going Chandler and Zamir. And I think one of the biggest lessons of this fantasy football season, I will definitely be making a video about some of the big lessons I learned this fantasy season, because it's always important to be improving. It's that grinding the waiver wire is as important as ever. As important as ever. We're into the fantasy football finals. We're starting Zamir White and Ty Chandler. Both guys were on the waiver wire in every league this year. Really, there's a huge advantage in fantasy to the people paying attention and putting the sweat and the effort and the hustle into the waiver wire. All right, Nico Collins or Pittman? Oh gosh, man, you got to start both these guys. I mean, I really, really want to start Nico Collins this week. I am very in on Nico Collins. I think you can start him over Pittman. Pittman's been so consistent. A little bit of risk, I guess, with Pittman just because he's coming off the injury. But it was a concussion. He should be fully back to himself. Better matchup for Nico, though, than it is for Pittman. And, guys, we've seen the ceiling with Nico and C.J. Stroud both fully healthy. We have not seen a game with Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud fully healthy without Tank Dell. The Nico Stroud stack is going to be elite today. The floor for Nico Collins is minimum 10 points, and the ceiling is over 30 points in this game. He's going to see close to 10 targets without Tank Dell. I feel really good about Nico. I think you need to be starting him for sure. All right. Thanks for the championship advice in the last year of the season. Thanks, Rodney. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys all so much. Seriously. I always get mixed feelings, this time of year. It's the championship Sunday. I'm pumped, man. I'm in the championship in one of my leagues. I know how hard it is to get to the fantasy football championship, and I grind 365 basically around the year, for today. And then it ends so fast, and then I've got to wait so long to the next championship we got. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, anyways, Flowers, Noah Brown, Shaheed, or DK. Pick 2 half PPR. Yeah, I think you got to go Flowers and DK here. I like Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed is the free player prop of the day, guys. He's the free player prop of the day. He's going over 34.5 receiving yards. He had 9 targets last week, 70 yards. He had 5 catches. Like, all of his overs are good today against the Bucs defense, but still think you need to play DK Metcalf over Rashid Shaheed. Still think Rashid Shaheed should probably be benched in that question that was just up there. All right, we got a lot of defense questions today. I will get to those in a second. You got me to the championship, but I got one more question. Zamir White or Aaron Jones? Yeah, like, again, grinding the waiver wire is as important as ever. I'm going Zamir White over Aaron Jones, like, kind of easily today. Kind of easily. It's Zamir White. Zamir White's had at least 14 points in both of his starts. He gets a good matchup against the Colts. Today, Sam, if Pacheco isn't a safe start, which one is better, CEH, Pacheco? Yeah, it's still Pacheco here over CEH and Singletary. Like, just because he's not safe doesn't mean he's not a better option than these guys. I still would go Pacheco. And Pacheco does at least have a very good matchup. The Bengals defense has been terrible, especially recently. Noah Brown, TJ Spears, Drake London. Pick 2 here. I think you bench Drake London. Noah Brown might project worse. They're really close. Wow. And I think you got to start TJ Spears. TJ Spears, guys, I'm going to be drafting a lot of him next year. I really hope he's not a super popular sleeper pick. We'll see, obviously, what happens with Derrick Henry this offseason, but I think TJ Spears is a very good running back. And we've seen it. I mean, he's played a significant role for the Titans this season, a really underrated role. And the Titans are underdogs today. That is good, very good news for TJ Spears. Bad news for Derrick Henry. TJ Spears is a good receiving back. And yeah, it's Spears in London. Noah Brown is a high upside sleeper play today for sure. There's no Tank Dell. I look back at these couple games, week 9, week 10, even week 15, when they last played the Titans. Noah Brown, 11 targets, 33% target share. God, I really want to start Noah Brown over Drake London. Honestly, I think I would. Looking at this a little bit more, let's look at these numbers for Drake London really quickly. But yeah, Drake London's been under 7 points in 3 of his last 4 games. He gets a snowy, wet game against the Bears here. Their defense has been pretty good of late. Heineke is starting. I'm going Spears and Noah Brown here. I'm benching Drake London. I'm going Spears and Noah Brown. I think it's a close one between Noah Brown and Drake London. But yeah, I'm going Noah Brown personally over Drake London. All right, good morning, Sam. Sorry I'm a bit late. No worries, Matt. I appreciate you for being here at all. Shout out to everybody in this live. We're going to the running back tiers here on the TikTok live, seeing some people ask for that. We got an hour left of this live stream. I'm pumped, man. It's Championship Sunday. We grinded all season to get here. I'm going to get to thousands of start sits over the course of this live stream. I've already gotten to probably over 500 start sits on this live. If I don't get to your start sit, I got rankings up on the YouTube live. If you're watching live on TikTok, guys, come to the YouTube live. It's a better viewing experience. There's no messing around this week. It's a championship week. So come to the YouTube live to get my full rankings. But also, if I don't get your start sit, go to the Walter Picks app. It's by far the best app for fantasy and betting advice. We are building so much more into the Walter Picks app. Like the speed of improvements in the Walter Picks app is starting to hit this exponential curve that it's hard to even keep you guys up to date with how many things are being improved throughout the app. And especially this time of the year as we head to the NFL fantasy offseason, like we got a lot coming, man, to the Walter Picks app that's going to help you with March Madness. It's going to help you player props in all sports betting. And of course, every year fantasy, it's going to be the number 1 app for fantasy insights for the foreseeable future. But anyways, Achane, Singletary, Rachaad White, and/or Swift, full PPR. All right, let's talk through all these guys because I've seen a lot of these guys in start sit comments today, Matt. And so first of all, Achane. I've been on a few rants about Achane already on this live. I've been wrong about him the last couple of weeks. Not necessarily wrong, but just overly optimistic. And it's hard not to get ahead of myself a little bit today with Achane because Raheem Mostert's out. And that has not been the case for the last couple of weeks with Achane. It's Achane leading the backfield with Jeff Wilson mixing in. And I think Jeff Wilson will probably get around half the work and Achane will get around half the work. We've seen 3 games this season where Achane had at least 10 carries. In all of those games, he had at least 70 rushing yards and a touchdown. He's going to get at least 10 carries today. It's not a good matchup against the Ravens, but also the Dolphins are probably going to be losing. They're underdogs in this game. I'm starting Achane. Like I want to start Achane. I think he can win fantasy leagues today. I think his ceiling is truly, truly elite. And I don't want that on my bench. I'm playing him over Singletary very easily. I'm playing White over Singletary very easily also. And I'm playing Achane over Swift. Yeah, and I'm excited about Swift. Swift is a pretty good ceiling play today. The Cardinals have been really bad against running backs. They've actually been the worst. There's not a single defense that's allowed more fantasy points to running backs than the Arizona Cardinals. The Eagles are 14-point favorites against the Cardinals. Swift actually scored last week for the first time since week 11. He had 20 carries last week, 18 carries the week before that. Like, we're going to see 15-plus carries against a bad defense here for Swift. We know he's a good receiving back, even though he hasn't been targeted that much too. He's a good play, but I'm not playing him over Rashad White or over Devon Achane. I'm playing Zamir White over DK Metcalf. Rashad White versus Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, I'm playing Rashad White over JT. I'm playing Rashad White over every single running back except for Corinne Williams and CMC. And Travis Etienne needs to be started this week too. DK, Bijan, or Chase. Choose dose in the finals in both my leagues. Jason, let's go, man. Bijan, Chase, DK. Let's look at this one. I kind of want to start Bijan in this one. I mean, Jamar Chase is such a difficult start sit call this week. Yeah, so you got to start Bijan. Then it's between Metcalf and Chase. I'm going Chase over Metcalf. We are in week 17. We're in the fantasy football finals. You kind of have to start your first round picks. And I know like that logic doesn't always hold true. Jamar Chase is dealing with an injury. He might not even play. He's a true game time decision. One of the most difficult spots to hear. Like Chase, I think Chase is going to play. And I feel like I've had a relatively good pulse on the questionable players this season. Like I feel like I've been in tune to the news, the right beat reporters, and just the right general feel for a lot of these situations this year where like a lot of times I'll tell people, yeah, that guy's questionable, but let's just plan for him to be out because I think he's going to be out. I don't feel that way with Chase, but it is difficult because Chase plays at 4:25 today, Eastern at least for the people on ET time zone like me. Jamar Chase is in a later window of the games. There's only 3 late window games today, and then there's 1 Monday night game, I think. All of the other games are at 1. They're about to kick off in an hour and a half, which makes like if Jamar Chase is ruled out, and there is a chance Jamar Chase gets ruled out, there's absolutely a chance of that. He is a game time decision. I think there's like 75% chance he plays. Like I think he's going to play. Anyways, I'm starting Chase over Metcalf. Just be aware. Actually, they both play in the late window, which is good. So you can wait and see. That's actually great. Metcalf also plays in the late window, which solves that problem. But some people aren't in that spot for sure. But yeah, I'm going Chase over Metcalf. Please, kind sir, who do I start running back to? Kenneth, Gus, Chandler, or Singletary? Yeah, this is Chandler. This is Chandler over Kenneth, Chandler over Gus, Chandler over Singletary. Full PPR, Mixon or JT? Yeah, Kamara was left off this list by accident. He's right after Achane. Mixon, JT. It's definitely JT over Mixon. White, Pickens are likely. Definitely start Rashad White. QB ranks. Hey, I got you with the QB ranks. Let's pull the QB ranks here too on the YouTube Live. Let me take a sip of coffee here for the final stretch. What a day. Guys, it's a great day to be great. We're 2 hours in. We got another hour to go. It is a fantastic day to win your fantasy football league. First championship, 2 QB league. Who to start, Baker, Carr, or Lamar? Yes, you're starting Lamar. And then Carr versus Baker, I think, is actually pretty close. They're playing each other, though. And the matchup is better for Carr. But Baker's definitely been much better than Carr, especially recently. Wow, we got them back-to-back here in the quarterback rankings in the Walter Picks app. I'm going Baker over Carr. I'm going Baker over Carr, especially with Marshawn Lattimore out. Been waiting for my question for a while. PPR, Connor, Zay, Godwin. Dress 2 made it to the finals as a Walter Pick sub. Evans is historically bad against the Saints. Yeah, but he's historically bad against Marshawn Lattimore, though, and Lattimore's out. Shout out to being a Walter Pick subscriber, by the way. By the way, the number one way you could possibly support me, you could possibly support the Walter Picks brand, is by subscribing to the Walter Picks app. It is free to download. It's in the TikTok bio. It's in the YouTube description. And if you use code SAM, you also get a free 7-day trial of the app. Yeah, I'm going Godwin here over James Conner and over Zay. I'll go to wide receivers. They've been subscribed for 2 months. Wow, thanks for doing the TikTok live subscriptions. Why Minshew over Stick? I do not start Easton Stick. Full PPR, Mixon or Adams. Definitely Adams over Mixon. Go to wide receivers. I'll be there in a second. Where is Flacco? Can you show the wide receiver list? I got you with the wide receiver list. This is only the players that haven't played yet. This is the tier list for fantasy football for the guys that have not played yet. There are a few receivers missing from this list. I will talk about some of those, but if you're not seeing the guy you're looking for that hasn't played yet, let me know in the comments and I'll get to those guys. We can talk through those guys. But here's the wide receiver ranks. Also, we're live on YouTube also. If you're watching live on TikTok, guys, I have my full rankings, 1 through 50 of the wide receivers, not a single guy missing in the TikTok bio. You can see the link to the YouTube live. It's just as free. I'm going Rice over Ayuk. I have Fields on waiver. Yes, play Fields over Kyler, 100%. Hubbard or Shaheed or Dobbs, 1K on the line. Let's go, man. Dan, this is what the finals is all about, man. And yeah, it's Hubbard or Dobbs, I think, over Shaheed. I'm in on Shaheed this week, by the way. He's actually the free player prop of the day, but his line's at 34.5. So it doesn't make him a must-start in fantasy by any means, like some of the other free player props over the course of the season. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is probably a little safer than Dobbs. I do like Dobbs, though, with no Christian Watson. Yeah, it's Chuba Hubbard, though, against the Jags. Chuba Hubbard has seen really significant carry numbers, at least 16 carries for Chuba Hubbard in 4 straight games. He's the clear lead back. He's playing a lot. He is a good receiving back, too. I'm going Chuba Hubbard over Dobbs. I'm playing them both over Shaheed. Douglas or Thielen, got to be Douglas over Thielen. Diggs or Jayden Reed. So, I mean, like here we are. There's some of these guys, some of these first-round picks in fantasy football that are actually like really tough to start today. Diggs is one of them. Chase is one of them. I think Jayden Reed actually ranks ahead of Diggs for me. I mean, what a tough call, man. Jayden Reed, Steph Diggs, here we are in the fantasy football finals, but this is what it's about. And honestly, Jayden Reed is a better option than Steph Diggs. Just look at let's look at the last 5 games for these two guys. The last 5 games. Let's do the last 6 games for Jayden Reed and the last 6 games for Steph Diggs. The last 6 games for Steph Diggs, he's been under 10 points 5 times. The last 6 games for Jayden Reed have been a whole different story. He's been over 15 points, at least 15 points 5 times for Jayden Reed. So Diggs has been under 10 5 of his last 6. Reed has been over 15 5 of his last 6. Like, you got to go Reed. You got to start Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed against the Viking secondary is absolutely a good start today. Steph Diggs against the Pats, who have been pretty good against number 1 receivers, is a guy I do want to start still in a lot of spots, but not over Jayden Reed. All right. Start Kenneth Walker or Zamir White. Yeah, it's Zamir White over Kenneth. Why DJ Moore so low? Yeah, I think DJ Moore, actually, we moved him up on the YouTube live rankings as we talked through some of these rankings a little bit more. Metcalf is not on here. Metcalf is right in tier 4, though, with Chris Olave, DJ Moore, Jamar Chase in that list of receivers. If you come to the YouTube live, I got my wide receiver rankings updated in the YouTube live. Link is right in the TikTok bio. These rankings are from before the live stream started, of course. And yeah, I moved DJ Moore up all the way to wide receiver 12. So the only receivers I'm playing over DJ Moore this week, I'm playing Mike Evans over DJ Moore. I'm playing Brandon Ayuk over DJ Moore. I'm playing Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Rashee Rice, Puka Nacua, Deebo Samuel over DJ Moore. I'm playing Nico Collins over DJ Moore. And then AJ Brown, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. I haven't seen any Tyreek Hill start sit questions. Let's talk about Tyreek Hill for a second. I do like his props today. I think Tyreek Hill is more live to break the all-time receiving record than most people realize. Tough matchup here, of course, against the Ravens. So that's tough. But he had 14 targets last week. Tyreek Hill had a 41% target share last week. There's no Waddle this week. If he gets near these types of target totals today, like, he could go to 200 yards. He could do something like CeeDee Lamb did last night. And then all of a sudden he needs like 150 in the last week to break the all-time receiving record. Though I will say he had an extra game over Calvin Johnson to do it, but he also missed a game this season. So it actually kind of evens out. Alvin is not on here, but he should be. He should be right after Devon Achane in these running back rankings. I've seen people ask about the QB ranks. Let's go to the QB ranks here in the TikTok live. Flowers, Zamir, Chandler, Higgins, or DK. Pick 2. Oh, gosh. This is a close one, too. I think Zamir and Chandler are definitely at play here. I'm assuming this is a PPR league. Let's compare these guys to Flowers and DK, though. I think Flowers... Yeah, we got Flowers ahead of DK. I would start Flowers over DK. So I'll do Flowers, Zamir, and Chandler. I like Zamir more than Chandler. Walter likes Chandler more than Zamir. Walter's the AI model, by the way, that powers the Walter Picks app. It's the most accurate player projections in all of fantasy football. I helped build that, by the way. The Walter Picks app, download it. If you haven't downloaded it, guys, you're at a disadvantage in your fantasy football league. It's free. Yeah, I think you kind of have to play Zay here. I think you go Zamir White and Zay. I think you bench Ty Chandler. You play Zamir White and Zay Flowers over Ty Chandler. That's what I would do. I do like Zamir White more than Ty Chandler. I disagree with Walter's projections on that one. What's up, Sam? Sorry I'm late. If you could just repeat the prop. Kylo, good morning. Happy Championship Sunday to you, Kylo. We got a smash of a player prop today. I actually like both of Rashid Shaheed's player props today. Let me pull up this really quickly. We got people coming back for the free player props in these lives because, guys, this is my 17th straight Sunday going live every single Sunday. And I've given away free player props on every live, including the Thursday night lives. We are 26-12 on the free player props this season. I mean, seriously, you really can't get better than this. We have had over twice the amount of wins as losses. And we just missed another win on Thursday night with the Kareem Hunt under. But I'm going with the Rashid Shaheed over. This is straight from the Walter Picks app, by the way. If you're watching live on TikTok, this is the advanced game logs you get for free in the Walter Picks app. Again, you're at a disadvantage. If you haven't downloaded the Walter Picks app, there's no reason for you not to have downloaded it when you can get free insights like this in a mobile app. It just doesn't exist. Link to that in the TikTok bio in the YouTube description. But Rashid Shaheed he's coming off his best usage game of the season. I'll pull up the game logs here on the YouTube live as well. Rashid Shaheed he went around almost every single passing play. Only one passing play was he not on the field last week for the Saints. He had 9 targets. He caught 5 of those for 70 yards against a Rams secondary that's much better than the Buccaneers secondary. They're setting his line at 2.5 receptions, 34.5 receiving yards. He had 5 catches, 70 yards. Last week, he's playing every single play. I think Shaheed smashes past 2.5 receptions and yards. Sam, bro, you got me to the championship. I need your help. Full PPR start. DeMarcus Robinson, Shaheed, or Zay Flowers in my flex spot. Yeah, it's got to be Zay Flowers. So, I like the Rashid Shaheed props. I don't think he needs to be forced into fantasy lineups, though. Rashid Shaheed could have 40 yards and 3 catches and be a smash on the player prop and still not be great for fantasy. Zay Flowers, though, he's coming off one of his best games of the season. I think his second best game, technically, of the season. A pretty good matchup for him, honestly, against the Miami Dolphins. He's going to be out there almost every. He did have some injury stuff pop up this week on the report, but he should be good to go. He had a 39% target share last week. Shaheed, DeMarcus Robinson, they will not, Nigel, they cannot get to a 39% target share. Zay Flowers absolutely can. So yeah, I'm going Flowers over Shaheed and over DeMarcus Robinson pretty easily. Taylor, Pacheco, Pittman, and flex. Yeah, it's Pittman versus JT over Pacheco easily. It's Pittman and JT over Pacheco very easily. I want to start Jonathan Taylor and Pittman pretty badly this week. In PPR, I think there's a good argument, for Pittman, but yeah, it's JT. It's JT over Pittman. Go JT over Pittman. Walker, Zamir, or Mostert. Mostert's out. Mostert is out. This is why we're pretty in. We're pretty in on Devon Achane this week, specifically because Mostert is out. And that means 10 plus carries incoming for Achane. We've seen 3 games this season where Achane had at least 10 carries. He went over 70 yards and a touchdown in all 3 of those games. I have Lamar and Dolphins D. Do I let it ride or go Jordan Love? Yeah, don't play Dolphins defense. The fix to that is not starting Jordan Love over Lamar Jackson. It is dropping the Dolphins defense, adding another defense. Here's some of the best defenses for you to play today really quickly. I've seen a lot of defense questions, so let me get to this. Look at the spreads and play the teams that are projected to destroy other teams. So the 49ers, they're 14-point favorites today. Start their defense. They're probably not available. Start the Bills defense. They might be available against the Pats. They're 14.5-point favorites. They're the biggest favorites of the day. James Cook is going to smash today. Hopefully you have him and you're not playing against him. He's a top 10 option for sure. I also think the Bears defense in a snowy, wet game against the Falcons, Taylor Heineke, start the Bears defense. I like them much more than the Dolphins defense. The Rams are big favorites against the Giants. I like him a lot. There's no Kamara on here, but he should be right after Achane if you're watching live on TikTok. By the way, if you're watching live on TikTok, guys, smash the follow button. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate you guys all so much. We are 17 Sundays in, and we are still going strong. It is Championship Sunday, man. Mostert is out, so start Devon Achane. Guys, we've seen Achane 3 games with at least 10 carries, all 3 of those 70 yards and a TD. Wide receiver tier list, I got you. Why Aaron Jones so low? Because the Vikings are not a great matchup for Aaron Jones. I would go Ty Chandler over DeAndre Hopkins. I go Saquon over Swift. I do like Swift against the Cardinals. B-Rob is low because not a good matchup here for B-Rob. The Commanders are 14-point underdogs. The 49ers are allowing the 3rd fewest points per game to running backs this season. So yeah, no thank you to Brian Robinson. Plus, he's coming off an injury, so there's risk there. Good morning, Sam. Good morning to you as well. Judd at Flex, Olave or DeAndre Swift? Yeah, I got to go Olave over Swift. Olave is a really elite option here for sure. Been here for over an hour. Sam, please help. I got you. I've been here for over an hour as well. We've been going for 2+ hours straight, and we are still going. It is Championship Sunday. This is what it is all about. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. Seriously, I appreciate you guys so much. This has been such a fun season. I look forward to these lives every single every single Sunday. Walter Pick subscriber here in the YouTube comments. Guys, the best way you could possibly support me, the best way you could support the entire Walter Picks brand is download the free Walter Picks app. It's free. You're at a disadvantage in your fantasy league if you haven't downloaded the Walter Picks app, which is in my TikTok bio, in the YouTube description. But also there's a premium functionality in the app too, which is free for 7 days if you use code SAM when you sign up. Anyways, we got a question here. Start sit. We're going to get to thousands of start sits over the next hour, so don't go anywhere. If I haven't gotten to your list, to start sit, comment yet. Godwin, Connor, Zamir, Chase. Let's bring home the championship. Yeah, we got to bring him home, man. And Zamir, you got to sit one here. Yeah, I think you sit James Conner. Sit James Conner against the Eagles. Eagles have allowed the fewest points per game to running backs this season. They've actually led up a couple good performances of late. I've seen someone ask for the tight end list. I got you with the tight end list. But yeah, I'm nervous about James Conner against the Eagles for sure. The Eagles have been really good up front in that defensive line. I'd play Zamir White over James Conner. I'd play Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin has 34 targets in his last 3 games after complaining a lot about his target volume. His targets have come. He's been over 25% target share in 3 straight. Jamar Chase against the Chiefs. Don't bench Jamar Chase if he plays, but be aware Jamar Chase is a game-time decision. DK Metcalf is expected to play. Seeing someone ask about that in the TikTok live. We'll go back to the wide receiver tier rankings in a second. For the tight ends, let me put the tight end rankings here on the YouTube live. Travis Kelce and Trey McBride, Evan Ingram, these are the top tier guys. If you have Kelce, McBride, and Ingram, I'm cool with you starting both those guys in a lot of situations in PPR. Trey Gronkowski, some people are calling him. I'm calling him Trey McBride still, but I do like the Trey Gronkowski name. We'll see if it sticks. But yeah, McBride needs to be started over every tight end not named Travis Kelce. I'm not that worried about Kelce, by the way. So I know some people out there panicking on Travis Kelce. Kelce, like the big issue for him for fantasy, by the way, Kelce, meanwhile, like he actually hasn't had a game. Like hasn't really had many games under 10 points still, despite being kind of down fantasy season, at least a down stretch of fantasy season for him. He's had at least 7 targets in all but 1 game this season, all but 2 games this season. But yeah, Kelce just needs to score. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 11. I think that changes today. Pitts or Kmet. Yeah, if Kmet plays, it's Kmet. He might not play. Noah Brown or Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, I think it is Noah Brown over Demarcus Robinson. I would go Chris Godwin over Calvin Ridley with no Trevor Lawrence today. I would be very careful with Calvin Ridley for sure. I got my wide receiver rankings up on the YouTube live. Guys, we're live on TikTok and YouTube. If you're watching live on TikTok, I'm telling you, the YouTube live is a better viewing experience. I'm not trying to get you. I'm not trying to trick you into anything. The YouTube live is just as free as the TikTok live. It's in the TikTok bio, and I can share my screen on the YouTube live. Plus, I can update my rankings as we go through the live stream and we get new information and we do a little bit more research on the live stream. Like, for example, DJ Moore is much higher in the wide receiver rankings on the YouTube live because as we talked through it and looked through it and we saw that Darnell Mooney's out, Cole Kmet might be out, like DJ Moore's got to be started. So come to the YouTube live, it's right in the TikTok bio, and you get my full wide receiver rankings updated on the YouTube live. I'm playing Jaden Reed over Rashid Shaheed pretty easily today. And I like Shaheed. He's the free player prop of the day. Cash on the free player prop. This is what you do. If you have Shaheed in fantasy, just go put a little bit on his prop, over 34.5 receiving yards, over 2.5 receptions. Like, he's going to cash those. But that doesn't necessarily mean he has a good fantasy day. Jaden Reed, on the other hand, he's had at least 15 fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. And he gets a pretty good matchup against the Vikings secondary. So yeah, I do like Jaden Reed a decent amount. I'm playing Achane over Ty Chandler. DK Metcalf should be on here, but he's not. He should be in tier 4. Falcons or Ravens defense. It's the Ravens defense over the Falcons. And then Bijan or Zamir White and half PPR, it's Bijan. I'm playing Bijan over Zamir. Like, there's some tough start sits, but yeah, play Bijan over Zamir. Hey Sam, happy New Year's Eve. Thanks for everything. Happy New Year's Eve to you, Sean. I'm pretty conflicted about today being New Year's Eve, by the way. Like, I kind of wish it wasn't on a football Sunday because I'm going to be expected to stay up till midnight tonight. I'm just not going to have that in me, man, after a full live stream, full Sunday of football. But yeah, happy New Year's Eve to everyone. I always get sentimental around New Year's in reflecting of the last year. Of course, it comes on the Fantasy Football Championship Sunday. Justin Fields or Josh Allen? Yeah, it's got to be Fields over Allen, with Allen playing the Pats. I'm seeing someone say I'm hating on Chris Olave. This is definitely the last thing that I intended to do was sit here and hate on Chris Olave today. And it's definitely not the day to do that. I mean, Chris Olave gets a good spot against the Buccaneers defense. I think you could probably argue for him to be higher in my rankings than he is. But there's a lot of good receiving options today. I probably would start Olave over Flowers and Jaden Reed. I'd probably start Olave over Diggs too. I don't think I'd start him over Mike Evans though, or Brandon Ayuk or Cooper Kupp. So yeah, I'd probably move Mike Evans up a little bit. Thank you, Louise, for the gifts on the TikTok live. I do appreciate that a lot. Adams, JSN, or Osborne. Got to be Adams for sure. Singletary or Connor. Yeah, I think I would go Singletary over Connor. I'm nervous for Connor against the Eagles. All right. Should I start Stidham, Terod, or Young at QB? Oh, gosh. I think the answer is probably Terod. I mean, Stidham is like an interesting sleeper just because he gets the Chargers, but all the Broncos are out, man. Sutton's out. Marvin Mims is out. The real Jerry Jeudy, will he please stand up? I mean, like this is it, man. With Jeudy, I really hope we see Jeudy on a different team next year, by the way. I'm nervous about Ridley with no Trevor Lawrence playing. Let's do Terod Taylor versus Stidham here. Terod Taylor will at least run a little bit too, so you got that going for him. Stidham actually ran a lot in his last two starts as well, but he's not really known as a rushing quarterback. It's Stidham. Yeah, go Stidham over Taylor after looking at this. Guys, if you're watching live on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. Browns or Rams? Defense, yeah. The Browns defense already played. So hopefully you played the Browns because they scored a touchdown. Here from the start, Sam. JT, Henry, or Achane sit one. You got to sit Henry. Raymond, you got to sit Henry. Start JT, start Achane. Both are elite options. Let me pull up the running back rankings here on the YouTube live again. With Raheem Mostert out today, Achane needs to be started over Aaron Jones. Achane needs to be started over T. Higgins. Achane needs to be started over Ezekiel Elliott. Achane needs to be started, guys, in a lot of spots with Raheem Mostert out. Ty Chandler or Zeke? It's Zeke. Yeah, it's Zeke over Ty Chandler. Happy Sunday, championship weekend. We made it. We made it, Jonah. This is what it's about, man. We made it. I mean, we've grinded so hard, but it means nothing if we don't take advantage of it. Let's go, man. I'm pumped. Need one. Higgins, Noah Brown, Shaheed, London. Oh, man. It's one of these first two, and I think it's T. Higgins. I think you go T. Higgins over Noah Brown, over Shaheed, and over London. Also need a QB. 2 is my only starter, but could pick up Howell, Browning, Terod, Jaron Hall. Yeah, so I'm playing a lot of guys over Tua, man. I'm nervous for Tua. We just saw Brock Purdy get stuffed by this exact Ravens defense. I feel like Tua and Brock are somewhat comparable in sort of their situations. I'm not starting Sam Howell, though. No chance. No chance I'm going with Sam Howell against the 49ers. And then we got Browning. I would start Browning over Tua. I don't think I'd start Terod over Tua. Jaron Hall, I would start over Tua. I'm going Browning, though. I think Browning, I'd go Browning, then Hall, then Tua. Hunter Henry is out. This is big. Let's see if we got any more injury reports here. That's pretty big, though, for Demario Douglas. All right, let's get the reports here. Hunter Henry out. Von Miller, a healthy scratch. Zay Flowers, Alvin Kamara officially active. Kyler Murray officially active. Raheem Mostert officially inactive. Hunter Henry inactive. Jacoby Brissett inactive. Cole Kmet is officially active. That's big to know. Also, Puka Nacua is active. Josh Jacobs officially inactive. He's not going to play. Play Jonathan Taylor over Kenneth Walker. Play Nico Collins over Achane. Play Nico Collins versus Cooper Kupp is such a tough call, man. I feel like you just kind of can't bench Kupp in your finals, but I think I would play Nico Collins over Cooper Kupp today. Like, I don't think there's a very many higher floor, higher ceiling options than Nico. Against the Titans, good matchup. No Tank Dell, CJ Stroud back. Rashee Rice, I really want to start him too, but I'd play Nico over Rashee Rice also. Sam, how's it going on this New Year's Sunday Eve? Yarjma, it's going great, man. We're in the fantasy football finals in one of my 7 high-stakes leagues. Got knocked out brutally bad beats in a couple of the spots last week. But, man, I'm pumped, man. This is what it's all about. Week 17, we've grinded all season to get here. I am amped, Yarjma. Plus, it's New Year's Eve, man. So much emotion into one day. If you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit the like button. I hope you guys are all having a great New Year's Eve and have a great fantasy football finals Sunday. Morning, Sam. Big day. Right now, I have Kyler in and Baker on my bench, but not sure. Also have Zamir bench for Rashad, Kamara, Corinne. Yeah, that's right. The latter part of this is just correct. You cannot bench Rashad, Kamara, or Corinne for Zamir White. You just can't do that. You got to start all 3 of these guys over Zamir. Whether that works out or not, that's just the right decision. Kyler versus Baker is a much tougher call. I think it's like a really, really difficult decision. I think someone asked about this earlier. I feel like there's an argument that Baker is safer than Kyler. Baker's been balling. Kyler's been doing fine too, though. And Kyler, like the tough part for me with this one is Baker's been balling. Baker has at least 18 points, at least 19 points in 3 straight games. And he's had tougher matchups than he gets today. There's no Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints today. They've been throwing a lot. He's coming off a huge game last week, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's got 8 touchdowns his last 3 games, Baker Mayfield. But then you look at Kyler Murray's matchup, and he's a huge underdog against the Eagles. And the thing that really gets me perked up about Kyler Murray is the rushing, man. He's had at least 5 carries in all but 1 game since he's been back, 3 rushing touchdowns. He's rushed for a touchdown in half his games. The Eagles have not been a good secondary this season. They've been extremely pass funnel defense. Kyler's had at least 15 points in 5 of his 6 games this season. And now he's got his best matchup, arguably, on paper of the season. I do worry a little bit, though, about how the Cardinals' offensive line is going to be able to hold up here against the Eagles' defensive line. But yeah, I think I'd go Kyler over Baker. All that said, like, he's got the rushing, he's got the better matchup. It's Kyler, man. It's Kyler over Baker Mayfield for me. Jaden Reed or Kenneth Walker at flex PPR. I'm going Jaden Reed over Kenneth Walker for sure. McLaurin or B-Rob. I do not want B-Rob at all against the Eagles. Sorry, not against the Eagles, against the 49ers. Excuse me. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday in the game. See you in 2024. You as well. Kylo, Happy New Year to everybody. It's been a great 2023. It's been a huge 2023, but 2024 is going to be even better, man. Ridley, Walker, Devontae Adams. Yeah, you can't bench Adams. No benching Adams there. I play Rashee Rice over Devon Achane. Playing Lamar over Stroud. Do not bench Lamar, guys. Do not bench Lamar in the fantasy football finals. Ayuk, Chase, or Moore. I'm going to Ayuk then Moore than Chase. I'm playing Zamir White over Ty Chandler. Without Hunter Henry in the lineup, we could see Demario Douglas hit a 30% target share. Why not today? I think I'm fine playing Douglas, honestly, over T. Higgins. Sam, made to the finals largely in part of Walter. Let's go, Matt. San Francisco or Buffalo defense. You kind of have to go, I feel like, with the 49ers defense. The Bills are slightly bigger favorites, right? Yeah, they're half a point bigger favorite. I think you got to go 49ers defense. Stafford, Carr, or Stroud. Sam, just wanted to also wish you Happy New Year's, man. Been awesome listening and watching. Appreciate you, and see you next year. You as well, Nigel. Stafford, Carr, or Stroud. Yeah, it's Stroud. It's got to be Stroud. It's got to be Stroud. We've seen the ceiling from Stroud. I think Stafford's in a good spot. Carr's in a good matchup too, but Carr has been allergic to touchdowns this season, like similar to Tony Pollard. Like the yards are there, the touchdowns just somehow aren't. The opportunities are there, the touchdowns just are not there for Derek Carr. Bears or Falcons or Ravens defense. Snow game for Atlanta versus Bears. Yeah, do the Bears defense. I think it's the Bears defense over the Falcons defense. They're the home team there too. We did it. Happy New Year. Flowers or Diggs, Lamar QB, and it is a 12-man PPR. Yeah, go with the Lamar Flowers stack. We got Flowers and Diggs, I feel like, projected really similarly. Diggs has been under 10 points in 5 of his last 6 games. And now he gets the Pats, who are pretty good against number 1 options. It's Flowers. Yep. Stack Flowers and Lamar together. RB list. I got you with the RB list here in the TikTok live. We'll go to the wide receiver list next in the TikTok live. Then the must starts next. We are just getting going. We got about an hour till kickoff. Happy Championship Sunday to all of you guys. Shout out to all of you guys that have grinded alongside me this year and tuned into these lives throughout the season. Seriously, guys, I appreciate you all so much. I'm truly blessed that I can say this is a part of my actual job in my actual real life. It's truly a dream come true for me. All right, Derrick Henry or Calvin Ridley? All right, so we got Derrick Henry against the Texans. He did not do well against the Texans last time, and they're underdogs in this game. This is not a good spot for Derrick Henry. It is not a good spot for Derrick Henry. He had 5 points last time out against the Texans. I think he'll probably do better than that. He had 16 carries. He had 0.6 yards per carry. 16 carries and 9 yards last time against the Texans. Tyjae Spears is the guy you want when the Titans are not favored. But then your other option here is Calvin Ridley, and he's playing without Trevor Lawrence. If this is a PPR league, though, it's got to be Ridley. Yeah, it's got to be Ridley. Been a sub for a few years now. Thanks, man. Noah Brown, KJ Osborne, or Jacoby Myers, pick one. Let's do this comparison. My gut is Noah Brown, but I feel like Jacoby probably projects the best. Wow, that was actually, I think they were really close. And then Osborne. Wow, my gut agrees with Walter. It's Noah Brown here. It's Noah Brown. There's no Tank Dell. Noah Brown's probably going to play close to every single snap. Yeah, over 80% snap share. CJ Stroud is back. Good matchup for him against the Titans. Elite ceiling here. Higher ceiling than all these guys, all these other options. Ridley Connor or Ty Chandler. Yeah, I'm going to Ty Chandler there. Over Connor, I'm going Ty Chandler over Ridley also. Tucker Kraft over Logan Thomas. I'd go Komet over Kraft. McBride, Mixon. I'd go McBride over Mixon. I'm playing McBride over Kittle too. Let me go to the let's go to the wide receiver tiers, and then we'll go to the tight end tiers next here on the TikTok live. Let me pull up the tight end rankings here, or I'll go to the wide receiver rankings actually on the YouTube live. Big start sit today in championship game. Do I trust that Jamar will play? Do I start DJ Moore? I think you start DJ Moore. Because what we do know is that Darnell Mooney's out. They have similar matchups, I feel like, on paper too here. DJ Moore against the Falcons. Jamar Chase versus the Chiefs. My neck is struggling here in week 17. We've been grinding, guys. I can't believe it's week 17 and we're here. DJ Moore though over Chase. Yeah, it's got to be DJ Moore. Even if Chase plays, I kind of think DJ Moore over Chase makes sense. I do think Chase is going to play, by the way, but he is a game time decision. Ravens defense or Rams defense need to split. Yeah, Rams defense for sure. It's been the Rams defense. We've been planning on the Rams defense for a while. They get the Giants. They get Tyrod Taylor. Derrick Henry or Javonte Williams? Crying face here, Michael. Yeah, I feel this one. Let's do this comparison. I think this one's pretty close. I feel like the answer is probably Javonte Williams over Derrick Henry. Yeah, it is. Especially if it's a PPR league. If it's PPR, you got to go Javonte over Derrick Henry. DK Metcalf, yeah, he should be in tier 4. I left him off this list by accident. I play Zamir White over Joe Mixon. Let's go to the QB tiers here. We'll go to the tight end tiers, actually. I saw some McBride questions in the TikTok live. You got to start Jay McBride. I'd start Jay McBride in the flex, too, if you have Kelsey. Day 1 sub, James. I know, man. I appreciate you so much. Great to see you here in week 17. If Chase plays, pick 2, Bijan Chase. But yeah, you're not playing Chase here. If he plays, you're not playing him. I'm playing Puka and Cup over Bijan and Chase. I like the Puka Cup stack a lot. I think that's a really high floor, high ceiling stack together because they both could go off, but at least one of them is going off. Like at least one of them is going off. Are we starting Zamir or Eckler today in standard 6 points per TD? Also, Gerald Everett versus Broncos. Oh gosh, Zamir versus Eckler is a really tough call. It's Eckler. It's Eckler over Zamir. I'm going Eckler over Zamir. I'd go, I think, Kraft over Gerald Everett. Let's get to this comment here. Thanks for everything. Made it in 2 leagues. Second league, need a flex. Connor, Gus, Edwards, Ridley, Noah Brown, or Komet. Oh, gosh. I think this one's Ridley or Connor. I think I'd play Ridley and Connor over Noah Brown. I think I'd go Connor in this one. I think I'd go James Conner. I don't love Connor against the Eagles, but I think I would play him here. It's him. It's PPR, though. Let's see. Connor versus Ridley versus Noah Brown. Let's do this one quick. Then there's another comment I want to get to here. Connor, Ridley, Noah Brown. Yeah, it's Ridley versus James Conner. It's Connor. Yep. My guy here was right with James Conner. Last second decision, DK or Zamir White. Yeah, he kind of – I want to do this one too in a second. Let's do this one. DK versus Zamir White. I kind of think you got to go Metcalf in a PPR league. Yeah, it's Metcalf. We got Zamir White projected ahead. It's a good spot here for Zamir White. Zamir White's floor is absolutely better than DK Metcalf's floor. It's better. The floor is better. Matt, if you want to lock in 10 points, you got to go Zamir White. But if you want a chance at 25 plus, I think you kind of have to go Metcalf. I'd go Metcalf personally in a PPR league. Like I like to side with the receivers over the running backs in PPR just in general. But I do think Zamir White's the better bet for 10 points than DK Metcalf is. Kittle at 2 in tier 2 is crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. Sam, I have a chance to win back-to-back championships with the help from you. Let's go, man. Mixon, Aaron Jones, Zeke, pick 2. Yeah, so Zeke, this is between Mixon and Aaron Jones. Zeke needs to be started over both these guys, both over Mixon and Aaron Jones. Mixon gets a tough matchup with the Chiefs today. Aaron Jones gets a tough matchup with the Vikings today. It's Mixon. It's Mixon over Aaron Jones. It's definitely Zeke over Aaron Jones as well. I'm playing Achane ahead of Bijan. Show running back and QB. I got you with the running back list. Kamara should be on here right after Devon Achane. I think he's the only running back list missing from this list. We're also live on YouTube, though. If you're watching live on TikTok, you can see my updated running back rankings list on the YouTube live. Link to that's right in the TikTok bio. Good defenses to play. Go look at the spreads. Play the 49ers defense, the Bears defense, the Bills defense. I like the Raiders defense. Waller or Pitts? Yeah, I think it's Pitts over Waller. Wide receiver tier. Get to that in a second. Chasers a mere half PPR. Oh my gosh. This is so difficult with the Chase stuff. I think it's Chase. I think Chase is going to play. Part of the reason it's so difficult with the Chase stuff today is Chase plays later in the day, and he's a game time decision. And almost all the games are early in the day today. There's 11 games in the early window and only 3 games in the late window today. I don't know why the NFL, does that. Like, it's such a better viewing experience if they just did, 9 and 5 or even 8 and 6. A full day of football maybe instead of all the football in the early window and just a little bit of it in the late window. But yeah, I'm going Chase over Zamir. Puka, Rice, Ayuk. It's Puka, then it's Rice, then it's Ayuk. All 3 elite options. Do I start Boyd or Judy? You can't start Judy. Like, you should be able to start Judy. There's no Cortland Sutton. There's no Marvin Mims. He's playing the Chargers. And still such a tough guy to start here. If Chase doesn't play, though, honestly, like, if you need a ceiling play, Judy is better than Boyd. Kamara should be right after Achane. He's missing. Pollard's not in here because this is all the guys that haven't played yet. Zamir or Zeke? I'm going Zeke over Zamir for sure. Guys, we're heading towards the TikTok live subscriber only portion of this live stream. We got like 15 minutes left, and we're going to go comments only for the TikTok live subscribers, like we have done in the past few lives. All right, rank Shaheed, Khalil Herbert, Brian Robinson, Kincaid, Zamir, and Flex. Yeah, so this is Zamir 1, Shaheed 2, Herbert 3, Kincaid 4, Brian Robinson 5. That's how I'd rank it. I don't think Kincaid's safe at all with Dawson Knox playing. Is Doug and the Pats have been really good against tight ends too. Is Douglas over Diggs crazy? Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah. Like, it's not that crazy. Hunter Henry's out. Douglas has been better than Steph Diggs. Again, Diggs has been under 10 points in 5 of his last 6 games. So, like, I get the panic on Diggs, but we need to start Diggs over Douglas still. We need to. You need to go Diggs over Douglas. We're in the finals, man. This is it. Etienne or Eckler. Yeah, I'm going Etienne over Eckler pretty easily. DJ Moore over Eckler pretty easily also. Barkley over Ty Chandler for sure. DJ Moore over Eckler. Nico over Devontae Smith. Zamir over Jaden Reed is close. I think I would play Zamir over Mixon. I don't know if I'd play Zamir White over Jaden Reed in a PPR league. I think I wouldn't. I think I'd go Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed has been really good, guys. At least 15 points from Jaden Reed in 5 of his last 6 games. And he's got a good matchup here against the Vikings. I am definitely playing Etienne over McBride, but I do really want to start McBride. I'm playing Stafford over bring up the wide receivers here. There are some wide receivers missing from this list, like DK Metcalf, for example, should be in tier 4. If you want my full updated wide receiver rankings list, they'll come to the YouTube live. Links right in the TikTok bio if you're watching live on TikTok. All right, let's get back to some of these starts. It's, hey, Sam, need your help. Pick 2, Puka, Kupp, Elliott, Javonte, half PPR. It's the first 2. Start the first 2 here. I've said this several times today. The Puka and Cooper Kupp stack today is going to win leagues. Like, if you have both these guys, minimum one of these guys is going to finish as a top 10 wide receiver this week, and both have the chance to finish top 10. So, yeah, start both these guys. I'm playing Achane over Swift. I'm not benching Achane. All right, yeah, this is the comment I wanted to pull up. Earlier, you said you'd go Kraft over Waller / Chig by hair. This is really tough. Let's do this comparison again. We got Kraft, Waller, and Chig. I don't think Waller can really be considered here. Like, I want him to be in the running here. After last week, Waller had 0 points until the last drive of the game last week. I mean, I don't want you to go through that. It's really between Kraft and Chig. Waller projects better than Chig does. Both these guys are playing really significant roles. Kraft, though, he's not coming off the field Like neither of these guys are playing the snaps that Kraft is. I get that the matchups are better. The matchups are better here for Chig and for Waller. Yeah, I'm still going Kraft. It's still close. I think Chig has, I would argue Chig has the highest ceiling of all three of these guys, though. So if you really want a ceiling play, I'd go Chig. Otherwise, I'd go Kraft for the floor. I'm playing Puka Nacua over Pittman. I'm playing Achane over Zamir. I'm playing Stroud over Stafford. I'm playing Chuba Hubbard over Aaron Jones. I'm not playing Tua. I'm playing Derek Carr over Tua. I don't know how we can start Tua against the Ravens after what they did to Brock Purdy last week. Made it to 3 finals. Thank you, Mario. Let's go, man. That's what I'm talking about. Need help, Spears or Johnson or Addison PPR. Yeah, I think this one's Spears. This one is Spears. The Titans are underdogs today against the Texans. That's good news for Tyjae Spears. We cannot start Quentin Johnson. There's absolutely no starting Quentin Johnson. Like there's just none. No way we can do that. You just can't start him. You can't start him. There's no Keenan Allen. There's no Josh Palmer. And still, you just can't start him. Addison has a ceiling. But yeah, I think Spears has a safer floor. Yo, Sam, finally in the championship after 2 years. Andrew, this is what I'm talking about, man. And like if this is your first year playing fantasy or maybe even your second year playing fantasy, like it is very hard to make the finals. It is ridiculously challenging. If you're in a 12-team league, guys, your odds of making the finals are less than 15%. So you got to appreciate today if you made it here because you don't know the next time you're going to be back. And not only do you got to appreciate it, you got to win. It doesn't mean anything if you make it to the finals and you lose, which is why we got to make the best decisions possible. I didn't start Monty last night. Eckler or Javonte? Got to be Eckler over Javonte. Also, whoever you didn't pick, them or Godwin at flex. Yeah, so Javonte versus Godwin at flex. This one's pretty close. And Javonte has a good matchup on paper against the Chargers. No Russ, no Sutton, no Marvin Mims. Like they could really go through the running backs. Today, Godwin, though, has 34 targets in his last 3 games. So, like, PPR-wise, it's a tough call. Walter's got Javonte ahead of Godwin. I kind of think I agree. I am a little bit nervous for Javonte based on the snap percentage last week for Javonte. He only played 41% of snaps. Javonte came into the season coming off an ACL, PCL, and MCL knee injury, pretty tough knee injury from last year. You know, the Broncos are out. They're clearly done trying to win games. Russ is benched. They're out of the playoff hunt. Like, what is the incentive here? You know, I think understanding the NFL incentives, like the team incentives, matters a little bit this time of year. Like, what is the incentive to really push it with Javonte after the knee injury from last year? And he's still young. You're not trying to win anyways. Like, that does make me want to just lean Chris Godwin. The Bucs actually have something to play for. The Broncos don't. So yeah, honestly, after talking through this, I'm going Godwin. In a PPR league, I'm going Godwin over Javonte. With all that context, I think that matters. I know that Walter's projecting Javonte a bit here, but yeah, I'm going Godwin over Javonte for all those reasons. Especially, I do like to side with the receivers in PPR too. Bench one, Evans, Bijan, Saquon. This one's Bijan or Evans. I think I'd bench Bijan here. Schultz or Likely. I'm going Likely over Schultz. I'm playing Puka over Bijan. I'm playing McBride over Kittle pretty easily. I'm playing Chandler over Singletary. I'm playing Javonte over Connor. JT and James Cook are both really elite options today. You got to start both these guys. I got JT at number 5 and James Cook at number 6. So I would start JT over James Conner. Sorry, I would start JT over James Cook, excuse me. But they're back-to-back in my rankings. I'm playing Hubbard over Javonte. I'm playing Ayuk over Olave, but both are really good options. I'm playing Ayuk over Reed. Both of those guys are really good options. I'm starting Fields over Mayfield easily. Yeah, Ayuk's got to be started over Reed. I don't have defense rankings, but I will rip off the defenses I like today. I like the Eagles defense. I like the 49ers defense, the Rams defense, the Bills defense. Those are the 4 best defenses. I like the Raiders defense also, and I like the Bears defense as well. Those are some defenses that I like. Walker or Singletary. I'm pretty scared for Kenneth Walker. He's dealing with some shoulder injuries. He is going to play today. I got you with the QB rankings. Yep. Let's go to QB rankings here on the TikTok Live. Seeing some people ask for those. Rams or Bills. Yeah, I think the Bills defense is a little bit better than the Rams. I made the championship. Chuba or Warren at flex. Yeah, I think I'd go Chuba Hubbard over Warren. I'm playing Kamara over Zamir White easily. Do not bench Kamara. Kamara has 1 game under 10 points this whole season, and that was his last game. Zamir, Swift, Diggs, Singletary, or Flowers. You gotta play Diggs here. Zamir versus Flowers too, I feel like is close. You can't bench Diggs for Zamir White. We can't do that. I just don't think we can do that. I do like Swift too in the matchup. Let's put Swift in this one too. Swift over Zamir is actually an interesting call. Yeah, it's Flowers. Start Diggs and Flowers. Start Diggs and Flowers in the PPR league over all of these guys. I think that does make sense. I'm playing Stroud over Mayfield. I'm playing Achane over Derrick Henry easily Achane. Kamara over Zamir White for sure as well. All right, guys. We're in the final stretch of this live stream, YouTube Live. We're heading to the portion of the live stream where we transition only to the TikTok Live. Seriously, YouTube Live, people that are in the YouTube Live right now, if you don't come to the TikTok Live, guys, I appreciate you guys more than you could possibly realize. I know I try to get to every single start sit. I can't get to every single start sit, but I did over the last 3 years spend basically my entire existence building the Walter Picks app, which gives you unlimited free start sit comparisons. It's in the YouTube description. So if I didn't get to your start sit, I'm telling you the Walter Picks app is the best place to go. Also, you can come follow me to the TikTok Live at Walter Picks on TikTok. Time's the most valuable thing we have, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. We're going to be live for the next 20 minutes on TikTok. Good luck in the championship, guys. Go win the championship. Play the best players. Happy New Year, guys. I'll see you guys in 2024. I'll probably, next year's hats, physics. Yeah, we'll see about that. Actually, I do have a hat, another hat that I have worn occasionally that says good fortune. I kind of like the, there's math and then there's luck involved, of course. We need some good fortune too. So maybe we'll go with the good fortune hat next year. But guys, seriously, thank you so much. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We'll be live on TikTok for the next 20 minutes. If you don't follow us there, good luck, everybody, and Happy New Year.